The pre-show banter. I guess it's sitting here, but not really. What's this?
M. Bison McMahon.
Oof. Oof.
Oof.
I just read a tweet. Do you follow XTL projects? He's local
I'm
to
not
me.
sure what that is.
He's on Twitter.
Unless,
XTL projects.
yeah, I might know from the PFP or something. I'll have to check.
It's just XTL project. XTLP is in green is a thing.
Oh yeah,
Oh my
this guy
god.
looks familiar.
Yeah. Did you see what he just tweeted? Oh goodness. All right. All right. I think it's I think it is time to switch over to the video. And I got Sonic footage! Welcome to the Pork Beggars podcast.
Sonic the Huge.
Sonic the Hedgehog. Yep. Playing Sonic Frontiers. It
Such
is
a
a
good
game.
game.
It's
I'm
a
gonna
good game.
finish it.
It's got problems, but
Oh
it's
yeah.
relatively a good game, and I kind of wish that some of these problems were still a problem, but that's fine.
As a Sonic fan, I'm used to the games being buggy dog shit. So since it's better than that, I was satisfied. Like I love the buggy dog shit games too, but I was glad this one had a little more polished than normal. And it had great butt rock for the boss fights. I wish we could have had butt rock everywhere, although I think they added a jukebox mode so you can change the soundtrack anywhere.
Yeah, they
Maybe
did
you
have
can put
jukebox
on.
mode. I've been playing with it,
Oh
but
yeah,
I
then
have
we're
a
gonna have
problem.
to put them on.
I have a problem with
Go
the
on.
soundtrack option.
Oh, in what way?
They don't give you enough Crush 40 by default. I need more Crush 40.
Oh, can you at least unlock it? Is there any
I don't
way
know. I
Crush
haven't
40?
found it yet. I haven't found it.
Crush
You have to
40 is
find them on the map.
synonymous with Sonic.
What do you mean?
Oh, do you unlock stuff?
You get like I'm here uh and there was the Sonic Colors theme, the new one.
Oh,
Some of the old classic Sonic songs, like the Mystic Ruins theme was there. You know, the one that everyone memes
ooh,
on.
I
No,
loved that song.
no. I'm not saying that you shouldn't love that song. I'm just saying the one that everyone memes on. I don't know what they're
Oh,
saying.
100%.
I don't know if it's actually just like supposed to be saying something or something, but that is the song everyone memes on.
It sounds like half mumbling and half singing.
Yeah,
I've never
it's
associated
probably
with
in
anything.
someone's like.
Oh yeah, it reminds me of Legend of Zelda Fire Temple, where they're like, "Oh, this chanting is actually like a religious theme, and not just random Gorgon singing."
I don't know. It's probably it could be African or something. I don't know. It is
Yeah.
Sonic always has good music though, so
Oh,
that's one
always,
thing.
yeah.
But this week I wanted to talk about uh the Koei Tecmo thing. They were talking about what games should
The
bring
survey.
to the survey.
Ooh, yeah.
Yeah, that was some juicy stuff. I have to finish sending this tweet though, because I got distracted talking about Sonic.
No worries. Oh, I finally got the Killer 7 as an option. Let's see.
It's not that good. I'm using the broken
I was gonna
butterfly.
say that's disappointing looking at its max stats. I'll have to see what its special ability is, but
Eh.
so far, I mean, it's technically better in every way to the Broken Butterfly except for rate of fire, but that one's such a small difference.
I just
Hmm.
upgraded the broken butterfly all the way.
Yeah. I'll definitely have a run where I have everything maxed. Because this run I already have my shotgun and pistol maxed, and the special upgrade. They're crazy with the upgrades. Like my starting shotgun was the I used the two DLC weapons. Um, it takes up so little space. It takes up half as much as
Yeah, that's
any other shotgun.
a little bit crazy about it. I got a
Yeah.
DLC code from someone. I don't know how
Oh,
they got
nice.
it, but they sent me a DLC code, so
Yeah, right now when it's max, it does 9.7 power, but its upgrade does ×2 power. So it's doing 18 handgun shots worth of damage in the body. In the
I'm
head, I'm sure
still
it does more.
I'm still rocking the Red 9 and Riot Gun, fully upgraded.
I
But
wanted to use the Red 9, but ooh, the
I've kind of
Sentinel
stopped
9.
playing. I kind of stopped playing, and I want to save the talk for the later, so people can just tune out for when we talk spoilery stuff. So
Fair.
let's start with the Koei Tecmo thing, because that was
Yeah.
out of nowhere. So there was like
Yeah,
a
it was huge.
was Wo Long, right? And
I
then it's
believe it
the
was prompted from Wulong, at least recently with Game Pass.
yeah, and they're like, what game should we put on Game Pass? And the community came out, and a bunch of people were like, Atelier, and I'm
Everything.
like, yes. I'm like, yes. It's like all the games, Gust games. Get the Gust games. Let's go. It's
Yeah.
it's been forever. And then Brian's like, look, I need you to port back some of these other
Yeah.
games, and I'm like, all
All of
right,
the mobile
fine.
games.
And it just blew up in the
Yeah.
best way possible. So, and that was Neptune and Stella Glow.
Yes.
Uh,
I would love the Hyperdimension Neptunia stuff coming. I mean, it screams, put me on every platform. Because they have a girl, they have love and mockery for every system. You know, they have their Xbox on there. They have their
yeah,
PlayStation, their PC. It feels
PC
like there's
PC
love for
doesn't really
everyone.
have a character, but there is doesn't have like a goddess like the other ones.
Yeah,
But
but it's still represented.
yeah.
It's just not a CPU. But like,
Oh
even
god,
still.
don't they're goddesses. Megami. I hate the like the Patriot whatever unit. No, stop it. No, that's
How did you
dumb.
feel about the Dreamcast character?
Oh, oh, what's her name? I'm forgetting her name. I know it's Orange Heart.
Yes.
Oh, she's funny.
And
She's
yeah, she's
hilarious.
she's like
But
the Valley girl when she transforms, but otherwise she's kind of like the Sundere.
no, she's the tough girl, and then but she doesn't want to let people know she looks cute things.
Yeah,
She's more honest with
Usame.
herself. She's more honest with herself when she's transformed.
Yeah, I love that she'll talk and get distracted. Like she'll be sounding tough and cool, and then she'll find
Have
something cute
you
and
watched Bofuri,
transition.
right?
Yeah,
She's like me. Me and her are like basically the same character.
that's true. I guess I didn't think
I
about
mean
that.
like just the way they act, when they're just like
Yeah,
they have to be tough. They have the tough. Like I have to be tough, so everyone looks up to me because I'm the leader. But then in
yeah.
secret, it's
Secretly
like,
loves
oh
cute
my
stuff.
god, it's so cute.
I love that her voice changes though. She goes from like, huh, whatever, to like, oh my god, and then this, and then we can do this with my
And
friends. Like you just hear her getting so happy.
if I remember correctly, me is voiced by. I'm double checking
You
because
mean in the Japanese, right? I just always assume because you enjoy the
yeah,
Japanese
I well
usually.
I basically play everything in Japanese. I've been playing Sonic in Japanese.
Oh, you don't like Roger Craig? You're like, I gotta go with.
I've nothing against Roger Craig. The
Yeah,
truth is just like it's just more fun to play in Japanese. But the
it
audio's
would be
been
hilarious.
very different. Okay, before talking about me. Now if I
Ooh,
remember
yes.
me is yes. Fun fact, me is voiced by Rina Sato, which too does
Who?
Ver in Hyperdimension Neptunia.
That is funny. Oh,
I'm like I knew it was her. Who
she's secretly an
does
Xbox fan.
secretly an Xbox?
It
Just
is
secret.
funny that they actually talk about her playing a lot of MMOs, and I think that's because during the 360 era, there was actually a lot more Japanese support, and it was actually
Yeah,
popular for some of those games. I want to get back to that point.
I've
I miss that.
it's not that I hate MMOs
I
at
think just
all.
Japanese support in general would be great. MMOs are just a part of that. You
Don't
know, you got
remember
to
if
get
we
every
ever
genre for everyone.
did they ever have Orange Heart in
Uh,
anime for Neptune? I don't remember.
I actually don't
E-
remember that one either. I had started to watch less of the animes at that point when the game had come out, just because I was playing so many Idea Factory games. I was like, I don't have time to focus on one series too much because then I missed like 3 other series.
Yeah, Neptune. どう時間ゲーム Neptune.
We did have a really good one on here, Isekai Quartet, I believe it was.
Anime or talking
The game.
anything? I don't think we had anything crazy, but yeah. So anyway, we ended up with port begging off crazy. Oh my god. Off of this the achievement. The survey. And it's been fun, and hopefully, Idea Factory does come around, because I honestly think that their stuff just needs to be everywhere. And you should
Yeah,
do stupid things like a Ver alternate cover version of the games, because that would just be funny. It would be
definitely.
kind of on brand and funny, but the other game was still aglow, which is sitting here on my shelf with no game in it. The collection edition box. It's my brother's, so I've never gotten to play it. And then I thought of the eShop dying, and I'm like, damn it, that's just absolutely ridiculous. It was also fun. I was
It's
talking with Waffle last
mhm.
night. I don't know if you talk with Waffle, but I talk to him all the time.
I do
And
sometimes.
we're talking about how it's dumb that they didn't just have the DS games and 3DS games playable on the Switch. And
Yeah,
someone's like,
especially
"How
with
would
them
that
closing it
work?"
down.
Yeah, but someone's like, "Well, how would that work? There's two screens." I'm like, you could have it just be handheld only. You
You
know?
can also completely do one screen on one half, one on the other. When you play split screen as a kid, it was splitting the screen, so you'd have two
I'm
on
gonna
one
show
TV.
you with I'm gonna show you a peripheral that someone 3D printed that solves this problem.
Ooh. I mean, even the Wii U found a fun way to do it. If you really try, you could put it on anything.
I think you can just sit
Especially
it.
with when you see games get remade from the DS or something to like PS4 and Switch,
Okay,
you can make it work.
so this is the Switch Tate 3D.
Hmm. Let's see.
I've sent it in Discord, but on the
Ooh,
Discord server. So basically, it's a peripheral that lets you mount the Switch sideways,
yeah. So you can
so
use
up
it in
and
like portrait mode.
vertically. So that would actually solve the whole problem.
Absolutely. I know there's a few games that do stuff like this, and they just assume you'll turn the Switch sideways. Um,
Yeah, it's Tate mode.
so I mean, yeah, it's totally something that could work. And I mean, they sell silly peripherals for all sorts of stuff. They would have no problem pumping this out and just be like, put it sideways. It
Yeah, that's
works.
what I mean. You could totally be like, it'd be there'd probably be some 3DS games you couldn't play on a TV,
Yeah,
because there's 3DS games that had limited use of the bottom screen, so you could have it just be like another screen on the on the monitor, TV, or whatever you're playing it on. But
mhm.
if you had to use the touchscreen for any purpose, the Switch has a touchscreen. I know a lot of people forgot this, but the Switch has a touchscreen.
Yeah. People forget this too, but the 3DS has 3D. They create these things and they seem interesting at first, and then people start to use that feature less and less. For the 3DS, of course, it was 3D. For the Switch, it's touchscreen capabilities. Hell, even gyroscopic control sometimes. People just kind of lean towards what they prefer. But it doesn't mean you can't take advantage of these cool features, even
Yeah.
if no one uses them.
The one issue that would arise from this would be the existence of the Switch Lite, which would mean you'd have to have a a way to play these games up and down, like landscape mode.
Yeah.
But again, it would totally be doable. Just have two screens. You could have them offset or half and half. I don't know. You could make it work if you wanted to, but
Oh, yeah.
Nintendo doesn't want to put the effort in. So
I'm also stupid and misspoke earlier. It wasn't Isekai Quintet. That was the anime. It's Omega Quintet that I was
oh,
thinking of.
Omega Quint. I was like,
Yeah, that was
Omega
one of the
Quint.
series I wanted to get on Xbox, and I had gotten on the PS4 at the time. sorry to get off track. That was just an idle anime game kind of thing that Idea Factory also made. I thought it was cute. There's a lot of games made by that company that I think would do fantastic on the console.
The thing is that with the concept of like Game Pass being there, you should kind of. Oh, your air conditioner's acting up again.
Oops, sorry about that. Ooh.
It's just like I'm like, oh no.
I'm like,
But
I'll hide under this bed.
it's so many issues with with the audio going in. But with these niche games, honestly, they could probably find their audience with something like Game Pass. I know that some of
Yeah,
them are a little more etsy, and they might not be conclusive to a Game Pass deal because I
yeah,
get the feeling that a lot of developers don't want to be involved with that anymore since we're having issues with games with parody games even like
which is tragic. I mean, I get it. You don't want to put it in everything. You're trying to make your games accessible to everyone, but there's still an audience for that, and it's hilarious, especially in a parody game. Your entire
like
purpose is to make
Galgun.
people laugh. Exactly.
Galgun
The,
is a
uh,
parody, and people
That'd
who
be like
don't.
saying SNL can't make fun of people. It's like, yeah, it can be mean sometimes, but that's the point. It's funny. It's the same with this stuff. It has its audience. It isn't supposed to be for everyone. It's the same way horror games, and I hate that they do this, need to be less, and this sounds mean, but I don't mean it like this. They need to be less inclusive. What I mean
Kawaii
is, it
kunai.
it
We're
needs
not
to be
scary.
scary.
We're not
Yeah,
scary. Oh my god,
exactly.
you
They're
the
mixing
puppet.
kawaii and kawaii up with the O and the A. It's not supposed to be cute. It's not supposed to be, a fun time. It's supposed to be spooky. It's supposed to scare you. That's the point.
Yeah. Oh,
Uh,
for sure. And it is weird that uh they have I know the thing was my brother was playing Dead Space on PC with the new one with the uh
oh, the remake, yeah.
yeah, the remake, and he had some of the accessibility options on because so my mom could look away if someone was going to disturb her. And if
Hmm.
someone like is gonna like cut their own throat or something, it's like warning, this is coming
Hmm.
in like big letters. So I mean, I'm all for accessibility, but I kind
Yeah,
of appreciate that the Dead Space remake didn't sugarcoat it. Like it still
exactly. And
had the
that's the thing.
content, but gave you
Exactly.
the option to look away.
Yeah, it's like if someone was afraid of jump scares. You don't have to remove jump scares, but if you make an option that says, hey, at this point in the game it's about to happen, or it turns the volume down on itself and says, hey, by the way, like, it's coming, if you have a bad heart or if you're just scared, that's fine. Make it accessible for everyone that way. But do not remove content. Don't change it for everyone forcibly, because that's just as bad as not doing anything at all for people. You're taking
Yeah,
away something to give to someone else.
yeah.
It's a shame.
I think the some of the best ways I've seen it with the more etchy games are things like something like Boyfriend Dungeon, where it got a lot of flack for the way it presents things, and
Yeah.
I don't disagree with. If you have a problem with the way characters are represented in a game, I totally understand that. But you have to
Hmm.
understand that these characters are probably based on someone's interpretation or real life experience. So they're just as
Exactly.
valid as anything else. So
Plus, you want some of that representation. Even if it's not correct right away, that's a step forward. Instead of being ignored or not shown, someone is trying their best, even if flawed, to do it. And instead of yelling, I think it would be better to say, that's close, but here's what I'd prefer, or this would be more helpful. Instead of everyone always yelling at each other, having a little bit of just, you know, compassion, which is so rare on the internet these days, I think would go a long way. Um, and not just for this, but for almost anything. It's so much easier to build up a fan base, to talk to people, to get a message across when your first message isn't, this is fucked up and you're an asshole. Anyway, like, you got to go in with a little human decency with each other. And I feel like it would solve so many of these arguments and wars. I mean, we'll get into that topic after, so I won't say anything about that. Just there's too much chaos right now when I feel like there doesn't need to be.
I'm talking about video games, man. You don't need this stuff.
I
Like,
know.
and that's
That's why I'm
the
sad.
problem is, it's like the other thing is you need to know as a person and discover what your limits are. And
Exactly.
taking like what you're okay with, what you're not okay with. And I said this before. It was like in a Twitter reply to someone, and they were talking about how, you know, the discussion was about what happened with Omega Labyrinth and a couple other games. And ultimately, what it boiled down to is I hate people who say stuff like, oh, I wish this game was never made. I don't wish a game was never made. If a game is not for me, the game is not for me. I never want to take something away from someone that they'll enjoy because I've had it happen to
Exactly.
me and it's like, it's awful. I don't like Skyrim. Okay, guys? I hate Skyrim. I really do. I wish people would shut up about it and stop buying it every time there's a new version. But I don't
But the
wish
bigger version number.
I don't I don't wish anyone not be able to play it ever because I didn't like it. I'm not the
I agree.
I'm not the monopoly on the market. Like I'm not the person you have to appeal to make this stuff work.
And
Like
unfortunately, that's the way people think now. Instead of thinking, I won't buy this, it's not the product for me, they say, I don't like this, no one should be able to enjoy this because I don't. And that causes so many problems for both sides, whether it's changing the product or trying to fix it to appeal to that crowd, or it's that crowd boycotting and getting mad over something that they just don't need to purchase or even
boycotts
look into.
with some games just don't work. They don't work at all.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, it was
We
Harry
saw this.
Potter
We
was the
saw.
perfect example.
Yeah, I was gonna say like Hogwarts Legacy is a perfect example. Love it or
Yeah.
hate it, that game proves that giving a game attention, negative or
Yeah,
positive, will put more eyes on it.
exactly. And it also shows that there are tons of crowds that will bully people who don't have any bad faith or, effort put in. They just are trying to play a fun game and they'll get bullied and they'll get torn down. It shows how powerful the internet can be for negative reasons instead of coming together for fun, positive ones. And it's a
Yeah,
shame. It's video games. It's a
it is.
fun activity you do after school or after work with your friends. Uh,
Yeah, you don't need to. You don't need to treat it so serious. And that's the thing. I get
exactly.
so upset when people oh, this character's so. Even with Resident Evil 4 with the Ashley outfit
Hmm.
change, and I was like, they're gonna do what they did with Ada, and they did what they did with Ada in 2, where she was
Yep.
still wearing the outfit, but she had a coat on over top.
You should have heard what Kotaku said when they first saw Ashley. They're like, "Thank God they gave her a skirt instead of a skirt. It was so blah blah." Like, guys,
The
it's a
the
20-year-old. They wear skirts. They don't
the
have it.
problem I have with the changing of the skirt into like this weird like short with like a thing on the front, I was like, I don't get it. I don't know why you do that. If you
Yeah,
really wanted to make it more uh what is it, was it pure?
accessible. Oh,
No,
pure.
pure. I would have just made your skirt longer instead of making
Yeah.
it like a pair of shorts. I
Well, that's
don't
the
understand.
funniest part. That's what schools do. If they're like that skirt's too short, they don't remove all skirts. They're like just wear a longer one, make it this length, so it's appropriate. Like skirts aren't inappropriate in themselves, and they're
No,
like, oh well, what if you're climbing ladders, blah blah. Okay, what about it?
you
Just
could have
make
put
Leon
shorts
go
on
first.
underneath it if you really wanted to.
Yeah.
I just
Oh,
don't see
absolutely.
the thing is that she looked like she was headed to a party or something, the way she was dressed, to be
Yeah.
honest. And wearing a skirt to go see your friends, like she had her cell phone and whatnot. You found her cell
Yeah.
phone, right?
Oh yeah. I found it before I picked her up, and I was like, oh, oh, are we in 2004 right now? I can't actually tell because this walkie-talkie iPhone I have works really well compared to what I had in 2004,
Yeah, I know,
which I
right?
think was a Juke
Mm.
flip phone.
Yeah. But I mean, that's the thing. She looked like she was headed to a party or something, which would be when you tried kidnap someone. She probably was trying to just,
Yeah,
go out and do whatever. And
exactly.
And I'm like, whatever. I think it doesn't detract from the gameplay for me, but it was just a weird choice. If you'd made
Exactly.
her
It,
skirt longer, I don't think anyone would have cared. I don't think anyone would have cared at
and
all.
I'm sure people wouldn't have noticed even. It would have just felt like the old Ashley, and
Yeah,
it would have been that.
but these ones are weird
Yeah,
because they wanted
and
to
for
get.
me,
I guess they wanted to get rid of the because you could like look up her skirt in the first one and she'd scold you for it. And I know it's a weird thing, but
yeah, and if they even wanted to get rid of that, that'd be fine. They didn't have to change her outfit. I mean,
I didn't
Princess
actually.
Peach wears a dress, and
I
you
didn't
can
actually
hit in Smash
notice.
Brothers.
I didn't notice that Ashley was wearing shorts until my girlfriend who was watching me play pointed it out. She's like, "Is she wearing shorts?" And then we had to investigate in photo mode.
For me, I didn't even have the opportunity to do that because I started with different outfits. Leon looks amazing in his villain one. I almost can't imagine him in this game without it because I've been wearing it the whole time. And I gave Ashley the romance one. So she's been wearing weird jean pant kind of things with like a white shirt tucked in. But I gave her a red hair wig. So she doesn't actually even feel like Ashley because since the face model is completely different and she's got short red hair in this white outfit with jeans and a ruffled shirt, she just feels like her own character. Same with Leon. I almost don't feel like I'm playing Resident Evil 4 because the characters look
Well,
different.
you
And
that was on you. That's on you,
oh,
man.
oh, but you
You
didn't let me
decided to
finish.
play with weird stuff.
True, but the only people I felt like that were pretty similar to the original have been Leon and Ashley. So the fact that they look different, and then the fact that they rewrote Ada and Louis Sadler, Ramon Salazar, like I feel out of place or in like a wacky, alternate reality version because the only people that were the same I changed, and the people I didn't change, the game developers changed. So it just feels like a mirror world where things are uncanny because they're very similar, but they're off. They're not quite the same. They're different. It's
No,
interesting.
they gotta
Not
be
entirely
different.
bad, yeah.
No, they gotta be different. Resident Evil 4 has terrible story, but we'll get into spoilery story stuff later.
You can tell he's a man that loves that game.
I don't. I actually have had a love hate relationship with Resident Evil 4 for a very long time. Like I
The
loved it
original,
back
you
in
mean,
the
right?
yes, the
Okay.
original. The new one is does a very good job of bridging the gap, and when I can talk more spoilery about it,
Hmm.
it'll be I'll explain why.
Fair.
But we were on the topic of like weird censorship and stuff, and got on quite the path.
That's true. I got distracted.
Yeah,
Have you noticed in other games recently anything that seems out of place due to censorship or even just altered for what feels like no reason? Has anything caught your eye?
lately, no, but um, I have seen some of the stuff. Like there have been. Oh my goodness. Talked about Neptune earlier. Neptune had some really fun ones. If you played on PS4, I want to say it was it Super Dimension? What do they call it? Super Neptunia RPG. They call it in English. It's Brave
Oh,
Neptune
the
in Japanese. There's like um a image like there's like sitting there playing a game, and basically your underwear and a tank top in the dark. I think it was that one. And in the uncensored Switch version, you can see like the side of her leg.
that must be the one I played because I played the Switch version of that.
Yeah,
I didn't notice anything weird.
The PS4 version it cuts it off much higher or something because you can't even really like see anything because it's like on the side, like she's sitting sideways to the camera.
I think that's the thing that they don't realize when they censor these things. A lot of the time, you're not going to notice these things. In fact, the only reason you did notice is because they did something to point it out. It's almost like on TV when someone bleeps out a swear. If it's
Yeah,
a very quiet thing and you can barely hear the swear, you would never pick up on it. But because the loud boot happens, you're like, whoa, what happened? And then you review what happened and look at it and you go, oh yeah, that was there.
I actually love the TV edit ones
Oh
where
yeah.
they just change it to something else, like
Where they
Mother
like dub in
Trucker.
a voice. Yeah. They
Mother
dub a voice
Trucker.
in over what they're saying. Those are
Yes,
funny.
those are
And it's
hilarious.
Oh, but that's what I mean. It's more visible when you draw attention to it like that. It
Hmm.
almost does the opposite of what you're trying to do. Because now I'm like, what is this? I got to find out more. It was pretty counterintuitive to making people not see the thing.
Yeah,
Uh,
it's like you're trying to do something, but
yeah, it almost seems like virtue signaling. Like instead of saying we fix this, it's like, hey everybody, look at me, I'm fixing this, and people are like, okay, I didn't know it was broken, whatever. Like it comes off more like that instead of I gotta help people or do the right thing. It's just I don't know. Personally, that's how I feel. I'm sure everyone will feel differently, and they're all entitled to their opinions. I'm not here to shoot down anyone else's.
I just I think it's totally that's the thing. Like, that's one of the ones that comes to mind when I think of like weird censorship. I've also seen companies that were just told that they had to, because usually it's the still images in Japanese games that they end up censoring, and I've seen ones
Yeah,
where it's just like they're like, I don't even want to bother with this, and they just make the whole thing like light beams, and all you can see is the girl's face.
yeah,
And I was like, that takes balls. That takes balls to sell something like that. And be like,
well,
yeah, they
exactly.
made us do this. You want to play it uncensored? You can play it here.
Yeah, or even worse, sometimes it's like, do you want to play it uncensored? Buy that version here, and it's either more money or it's, a second version you have to buy. It's like, come on.
With you usually see that with like on PC or Steam game.
Yeah.
Like but that's the thing, like games like Honey Pop, which are
Oh
which
yeah,
is a
the free to
totally
play stuff.
no, Honey Pop is a match 3 game.
Oh, I'm thinking of Honey Cam. That's the one a friend told me about. Yeah, Honey
Honey,
Pop is uh the
Honey
match
Cam's
one,
the
and the other one's Clicker, I think.
The other one, I don't know. I haven't played it. I played Honey Pop. That was funny because everyone
Yeah,
was
that one
playing
was
it. It
funny.
was
It was like Puzzle Quest.
yeah, but you know, and the thing is, I love when people like, well, sex and games has been like a newer thing. I'm gonna just let you know this one thing. One thing. There was a mini game in the first God of War where you were trying to break a lamp
Mm-hmm.
by having sex with someone. Just
There's been
saying.
stuff since the NES that has either joked about it or had it in there. You just couldn't tell because there were 8-bit, games.
Well, you're also younger. You don't know it. That's the thing. It's
Oh
like,
yeah, I just mean if you're looking at it agelessly, like just looking back on it. But yes,
yeah.
as you're a kid, you didn't notice any of that. You watched the movies with adult jokes all the time and you didn't get it because it wasn't for you and you didn't care. No one brought attention to it. You
I
didn't
just
feel like you were
remember that.
missing
I
out.
remember that one from. Have you ever seen? Oh God, what's the name of that movie? Is it the one with Hulk Hulk Hogan in it? And he's like an action
Uh
movie from space, and they have the
oh,
Japanese investors in, and the guy looks to the other guy and goes, "When this guy shovels, he uses both hands."
yeah.
I'm just like, holy crap, that's a good
Uh
one.
I can't think of the movie. It's bugging me. Was it the AI one?
No, I'll find it.
Oh, it's gonna bug me. Thank you for looking.
I got it.
That
I got
stuff
it.
always messes with me where I'm like, something's
Suburban
on the tip of
Commando
my
is the
tongue.
movie.
Yes.
That is the movie. It is honestly one of the greatest things I've ever seen in my life. It's
And I can always appreciate when an actor or someone else is able to make fun of themselves like that.
yeah, Hulk Hogan was. I just remember that Hulk Hogan was in that movie, and I saw when the guy's like, he just moves the car, and the guy's like, he's like, "What are you gonna do to me?" He left off this ridiculous thing. No, I'm gonna sue you. He just doesn't understand. It's funny.
Oh,
It's a great movie.
yeah, and I'm
Um,
just looking at the ABK stuff just because
there
I'm
hasn't
just
been much
curious.
movement there this week.
There something just came out a few hours ago though that was interesting. Um,
Uh,
I
and-
believe that they said the court doesn't have to rule on Activision's motion to quash it now.
Oh, wait, did the Xenion thing go?
I think it was the
A Xeon? I don't know what it is. I know there was a lawsuit that was.
yeah, they just got called for their esports stuff. Also yesterday night, or was this PM or AM? Oh, it must have been yesterday in the afternoon. They were sued by the U.S. Justice Department for supposed antitrust violations to Call of Duty and esports. But I believe they're saying the court can't do anything about that in terms of the merger. Could be wrong. I'm seeing a lot of things on two different stories. Might be April 26th that they're closing now.
Possibly. We don't know. We're getting close.
Yeah, well, they reached an agreement with the class action lawyers for the gamers lawsuit. Uh, that might be what it was. That the gamers lawsuit is getting quashed.
Oh, that
There's...
that gamer's lawsuit was dumb and needed to.
Oh yeah, it
If
was never
anyone
gonna go
doesn't
through.
know anything about that, it was more or less a bunch of gamers paid a law firm to sue over the deal because they'll lose access to stuff and it was gonna get thrown out. So.
Yeah, and it's hilarious that they wasted their money, mostly because they gave out their names, which were linked to like console wars accounts, and they put together a lot of money for a law firm, who was like, "Sure, I'll gladly take the case. It's free money," um, and they knew they weren't going to win, but they still put all this money towards it, and now it's just basically going through the rigmarole of, you know, getting it out of the way.
Yeah, I don't know. It's gonna be interesting.
That's the
Oh,
word for it.
there's an ID at Xbox showcase tomorrow.
Yes. And I think there's something else coming up that I'm forgetting.
Well, besides, oh, we didn't talk about E3 getting canceled. It's talking about things that aren't coming up. E3's got canceled. I don't
Yeah.
I don't think it's gonna happen next year either. I think it's done. I think it's the end of the era.
I don't know. I'm a bit more optimistic about next year because if they start working on it now, they could actually get some cool events together. They just have to change their way of doing things because
Did you
no company wants to
see?
pay that much to go anymore.
Well, I mean, here's the problem with E3 is twofold. The ESRB is untrustworthy with people's data.
Mm-hmm.
They've proven this time and time again. And it's the ESRB, and they had been just not good in a lot of other things. So I don't. E3 was kind of like a phenomenon that was kind of awesome for gamers and that
Yeah.
for the longest time. Enjoyed it. It was me. We enjoyed it. It was some sort of it's like a fun event, fun week. You know, always great to just chill out and
Exactly.
watch
It,
the
it felt like
news.
a global version of PAX, which was nice.
Yeah, but that's the elephant in the room, isn't it? That PAX is just right there.
Yeah, well, PAX feels more like an indie thing, whereas E3 felt like a AAA thing.
And I will agree with you to a point, but the thing was that if you need to announce games, big or small, like why do you need to go to E3 now to do it?
Yeah.
Because you can just host your own. Like Nintendo's been doing it forever, right?
Well, they used to do the Treehouse event at E3 also,
Yeah, they had a
but
booth, but I mean, like, they've been doing their own announcements off-site for how long now?
probably
And
7 or 8 years.
and Sony stopped going. It's a lot of money to go. Like those booths are
Yeah,
millions of dollars just for the weekend. Like not even including. You'd still be looking like you have what 10 to 40, probably 10 to 40 employees there, temp workers or whatever per booth, depending how big it is.
I think
You
it's
got
more
to
of that
pay
instant
them.
gratification stuff. It used to be that was the time you heard all the big news. It was where everyone came together. These days, people are yelling at devs online. They want news every other day. Thanks to Twitter and leaks, you find out about things all the time. It feels like the reason E3 is becoming less relevant is because there's no quiet hush and then a big announcement of all these cool games. We're just getting fed little things all the time, or people are leaking things. Even devs are coming out and saying, like, here's this game, be excited, coming out 6 years from now. I
For
mean, it
sure,
feels like
but
there's no suspense and surprise anymore.
the suspense and surprise still happens. Like Hi-Fi Rush, I know
Oh, true.
it was leaked, but the leaks were so wrong.
Yeah.
It's like they got an AI to generate something. I was like, look at
Yeah.
this generic crap, and the game comes out and it looks like a bloody '90s cartoon.
Yeah.
So
It was much better than I anticipated. But
yeah,
we also had no idea when it was coming out, even with the leaks. We
yeah,
just knew that it existed
that's the thing.
somewhere in
It's
the
like
ether.
I don't mind knowing that stuff exists, but these leaks and that sometimes are just not good. Like I don't mind
Yeah.
when it's like a port gets leaked, like oh platforms reports or games have been announced. But the thing is that we keep seeing time and time again, like stuff gets leaked out way too early. And the thing is that because people will engage with accounts that do these leaks,
Hmm.
um, they've been resorting to more dastardly ways of doing it, like ransomware attacks and
Yeah.
like
It's
ransomware
fucked
attacks is
up.
like or hacking people to corporate espionage.
Yeah. I mean, you remember what happened with GTA 6, where the guy went in, stole the source code for stuff, and leaked info about it, and now they're starting the entire thing over for obvious reasons. It's and we saw with God of War 2 the threats of like the death threats for people if they don't come out or if they don't change things. People are far too, and we talk about this for everything, chaotic over fucking video games. It's just games. It never used to be death threats. It never used to be hacking into
I
things
think
to
I think
steal info.
I think the hacking and death threat have existed for a while, but it hasn't been as well as
It
as
feels, and this is
widely.
gonna be,
It hasn't been as widely like exposed as it has been
yeah, I'm
recently.
gonna sound crazy for this, but hear me out. It's similar to school shootings, at least here in America. It's always existed. It's awful. It's tragic. It was way less common for the longest time. And now, out of nowhere, you can't turn on the news without seeing shit about it. That's what it feels like with these. People are getting so emboldened to do awful things online. And of course, people doxed in the past, people would steal info. But it feels like now anyone can do it. You don't have to be a hacker. You can be an 8-year-old who has basic knowledge of how computers and iPhones work. Like, it feels like it's not only common but easier for people to do, and that's worrying and frustrating for the industry in general and just dealing with people. Everyone hides behind these masks online, millions of alts, and then they say and do awful things with no repercussions. It's
I don't think there's no repercussions
well, that's true. I should
exactly.
say minimal repercussions for
I
most.
I see what you're trying to go for, but the whole thing with like school shootings and that in particular, and I don't want to get too political and get
Of
crazy in that,
course.
especially with the events of last week. But the thing is that there's people who are trying to get attention however they can, and I feel like a lot of these people who will hack into things or even, go to a fun event with weapons, which has happened too,
Yep.
and, the consequences be damned, are they need help. And it's always been the problem is that
I
too
think that
much.
actually happened last year too. At like it was Madden or something crazy. It was like football, but they had an esports thing. Someone brought a gun when they lost and started shooting. It was awful.
Yeah, and then yeah, all the social security things, and it
Yeah.
people need help. They really do, and getting so upset over things doesn't doesn't make anything better.
Yeah, it feels like no one wins,
No,
which
no one wins.
it's a shame because it's not like someone wins at the cost of something. Everyone loses, and everyone is upset about it.
Yeah,
It's not good.
there's been too much of that.
And I
One
feel
is
like this
one
is
is
the
too
perfect
many.
medium for being happy and sharing that fun with each other. This used to be a great way to have fun with people and get a laugh after a long day. And luckily, there's still a lot of that. But unfortunately, it feels like
Hmm.
there's also a lot of the opposite where people get bullied for what they play or can't get into a lobby with someone without being insulted for the way they sound. It seems very hostile lately, which is a
And
shame.
that hostile nature's been around for 20 years. I
Oh,
know
of
it doesn't
course.
feel like it's been 20 years, but the 360 is almost 20 years old, guys. We're
Oh
getting there.
God.
We're getting there. Well, not almost 20, but we're getting there. It's like 16
Yeah,
plus years old.
17 or 18, but still, it's crazy.
Yeah, it's crazy to think about, but that's the truth.
It's
And
also weird to just say,
the stuff has been happening for so long, and like now they're taking steps towards making gaming really more accessible with like
hmm.
report features and the like. But it's that still means someone can get away with doing it for a set amount of time, basically,
Exactly.
which isn't ideal. It would be great if everyone could just treat everyone with respect.
Exactly. And it's not hard. I'm not saying don't get mad at a
It's not that
game.
it's not hard. It's when you play like a game, and that's the thing. Like we'll get into Overwatch probably in the news with that after this, but
Mhm.
when I play a game of Overwatch, and the thing is, someone will say something as stupid as like the big. I don't think it's toxic when people say it, but they don't mean it as toxic. But it comes off as is when you like finish a match, people are like, "Oh, tank diff or sport diff," and it's like maybe, but acting like you know your team was just the better team.
Yeah.
It,
Everyone is so quick to jump on support, if anything, regardless of how they do.
support DPS. What was the thing? We were playing. I was playing with Waffle last night, and
Mhm.
first game I got put on DPS, and I'm like, all right, we're defending. I'm gonna go Widowmaker. Like I'm not great Widowmaker, but
Mhm.
if you can sit there and abuse sightlines and make people have to respect you, you kind of put them in this position where they can't just take space for free. So, like first point, I ended up dying relatively late in the fight, but we still won the first fight.
Nice.
But the thing is I didn't have any kills, and at the end I
Mm.
had like 3 kills because I had no space to work with. So no matter what I did, I was like suffocated. I have no angles, no nothing.
Mhm.
And it's like, oh, you're the one carrying the team down. Is it? Because the thing is, you can only do with what you get.
And
And
you
it's
can
like, yeah,
only glean so much from the stats.
the stats
For
don't tell the whole
instance,
story.
exactly, you could be helping people all the time, not with kills, but forcing an enemy away and saving your teammates, or getting the points and or defending them.
I
You
mean,
know,
killing
the
the torp turret doesn't count as kills. It doesn't calculate
exactly.
that, and I don't think it even counts as damage dealt.
Oh, that's sad.
I don't think it does. I'm not
Understandable,
sure.
but
It might. It might. It might not. I don't know. If someone knows for sure, they can totally correct me. But I don't think it does. But this is the thing.
mhm.
It's like, what's more valuable in a fight? Them having a free sight line, a thing that can literally hit you from across the map.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's the thing. You can be toxic and mad about it. Everyone has an off game, but the problem is when you're trying to do everything on your own, and people kind of have
Exactly.
this.
Especially in a team game.
What's the thing? You'll see like these people, they'll grab tank or whatever, and I'll hit the button to group up, do the comms group up, and they just walk in on their own and they die because I'm not in a position to help them. And it's like, why? What? And then you're mad at me because I didn't heal you or didn't support you, but I can't see you because you decided to just do it yourself and take a fight 5v1.
Yeah. And of course, when you do that, you blame other people. You're like, why didn't the healer heal me? It's like, well, because there were 5 people on you. I was healing you, but you died anyway. They
You
were
can't
doing
heal
more
through.
damage than my heal.
Yeah, that's set up that way on purpose.
Exactly. To stop that kind of scenario.
Well,
And
you don't want one healer to be able to negate the effects of 5
exactly. Because
damage.
otherwise you'd have one tank go forward with a healer, and the other DPS could do anything from any angle, and just it'd be no problem.
Yeah,
Be crazy.
it is crazy. So let's talk about Lifeweaver, the newest support coming to Overwatch.
Now you sounded like you were a very big fan of him. I'm interested to see how it'll work. What are you most excited about with his kit?
His kit, the fact that his kit is basically the Game Sense kit, it's not. Apparently, his damage is pretty good, but his base healing is not good. Well, let me read here. What are people saying? 150. Okay. What? Okay, there's been a chat going crazy about it. The big thing is that he's got first. Maybe we should go through his kit quickly, so people understand. He has some sort of charging ability, charging healing ability that
Yeah,
can
at least from the looks
do
of it.
65 HP. Apparently, is the number right now we were seeing. When fully charged, it takes a couple seconds to charge back up. So it's like a pack, like a Brigida pack. So it's like a charge. Okay,
Hmm.
and he has
Do we
high
know how many
damage.
he has?
It seems to be one, and it takes a couple seconds to come back up, but it might be more than one.
Okay.
65 isn't terrible. Uh, so then his second ability is some sort of damage. He throws some sort of thorn projectile, and it does good damage. It's weird.
Hmm.
He's got dashes, so he can get in and out of fights. And he can create terrain that moves vertical, like it's like a flower petal. It comes up out of the ground, and it'll move ally or enemy.
Yeah, and that'll be great just for traversal for himself, for your team, for I mean, you saw with the ult in the trailer, but removing someone who is causing a big scene. I mean,
I
hell, you could
I
go on.
wonder how it works with like if it's partially uh like lifted, if it
Hmm.
stops like a Rhine charge or something. I'm just curious because there's a lot of
Yeah.
things.
I mean, it could be even funnier. You could lift it up as they're charging, so it pushes them higher, and then they fly off the edge. And normally they wouldn't because there's a wall. Who knows? There could be a ton of fun applications with that. I wonder if you have control over how tall it grows, like by cutting it off at some point by letting go of the button, or if it's just a set height. Because there could be some interesting tech with that too.
Yeah, but that's and then his other regular ability. is life grip. So he puts a shield on someone and pulls them towards him. It's like a
Yeah, and
reverse
that's
Roadhog
huge.
hook. Yeah, and I think this is gonna be the ability that's gonna make or break how useful he is.
Yeah,
Since you can
it's his
reposition
biggest unique
people
feature.
quickly. Well, the thing is, you could pull someone out of danger,
Yeah, you could pull
or
them.
you could do something really dumb with it. So I was running this snare by people was playing with last night, and I'm like, he can just grab a dude and reposition them. If it doesn't stop channeled alts, you could literally just pull a high noon around a shield.
Yeah.
You'd just be like, "Yo, over here now!" Boom, boom, boom! Everyone's dead. Like,
Well,
there's
the
going to
thing that's
be.
interesting to me, can you grab someone out of an animation they're in? Like if Roadhog grabs someone, can I grab them too and pull them my way? Can I
Well, you
pull
put a
them out of a
shield on them,
Reinhardt?
so even if you don't, if you grabbed him, and it would at least protect him from the follow up shot. We don't
Hmm.
know yet until we can actually like mess around with
Yeah,
this
fool around
character
with them.
robot. I definitely think the his positional game will be really strong. I'm hoping that they're talking about his healing being not that great, and the tree doesn't do a lot of healing, which is his ultimate. It makes this big tree. It's got like 1,000 HP, but it blocks it blocks line of sight, and it heals people for 50 HP for 8 pulses. That's what it's saying. If you stay around it, but you
Yeah,
can
that's
use it
not
for
a lot of
cover.
health, but
No,
that's exactly.
it's not.
It's useful for picking a little health up while using it to block someone's sight.
You make cover, and they show it in the little trailer by blocking like a Pharah alt, which seems like you'd have to
Hmm.
be crack timing for that to work. But it's the thing is the people that seem to be complaining about it are people that don't play sightlines and angles anyway. I haven't played
Yeah.
with I don't want to host someone, but I haven't played with some of these people. But the thing is that you know, a lot of people don't play corners as a so being able to just make your own corner with an ultimate that heals you is pretty good.
Yeah. And like you said, we won't know fully until we get to play around with him, but there's a lot of potential. And I'm
Yeah.
excited to see how this will shake the game up. They did say specifically their intention was to change how the game works with this character and completely shake up a lot of the
Hmm.
meta and strategies.
I don't
So
know if
it
he'll
sounds like they know.
I don't know if he'll like ruin I don't want to say like ruin, but well the current power level of supports is really high
Yeah.
with characters like Baptiste, Ana, Mercy being like not must picks, but they're all like insanely good. And then you have Lucio, who used to be like god tier and kind of goes between. If you're really good at him, Lucio is a menace.
Yeah.
So
And that's the
yep,
other thing. It all depends on the person playing them.
it does. It
Uh,
really does. And I don't think Kiriko is going to suddenly be bad because this character exists, and I don't think any of those supports suddenly become bad because Lifeweaver exists. I think it's more like it's going to be just interesting to see how this all shakes up.
yeah. I think there's also a lot of potential for trolling,
Oh yeah,
um,
oh yeah.
which is going to be great, but also insanely frustrating. And I can also see a lot of people who aren't purposely trolling, they're rookies, trying to be helpful and destroying their team. Similar to how May can put ice walls up that are
Mhm.
super unhelpful. I feel like there's going to be a lot of people who are like, let me lift you up. And just you go straight up with the flower into the line of sight of 4 different people. And you're like, why am I here? Why did you do this?
Yeah, the flower could be good, it could be bad. It's going to be interesting. It's also going to be interesting to see how it actually works. Like, how do you target it? Do you target it on a person? Do
True.
you
Is it
target it on the
locked to
ground?
someone? Is it free
Yeah,
aim?
yeah. We
Yeah.
don't know anything like that, so a lot of that will adjust it. Apparently, people or content streamers are on some sort of beta patch and they can check it out. And there's probably
Oh
videos out
yeah,
there where people are looking
yeah.
at
I'm
it.
sure there's a few people they let test things out so people can start strategizing and coming up with ideas for when the character goes live. I believe it's the 11th. They said, right?
Yes. And
Now,
goodbye the battle pass, which I don't like. I really don't like that they're gating heroes.
yeah. Now, granted, I didn't buy the battle passes, so for characters, I've just had to do challenges to unlock them. And the reason I knew they'd do that is because they do the exact same thing in Call of Duty for the new weapons. Granted, it's free, but it's usually near the end or halfway through the pass. So if you don't get that, then you just have to do just insane challenges to unlock it that way, which
I
is a mixed bag.
I really
Because I,
don't like the
yeah,
challenges thing.
exactly. I don't like being forced to uh, complete something that's usually arbitrary, long, and hard to get something that someone with a credit card can easily get first. But I do appreciate the fact that at least they put it in the game because I wouldn't even be able to play if these characters were locked behind money and then, you know, done. Not unless you pay more money.
My
Like,
problem is that if you come back to the game late, like one of our friends came back to the game late, so he missed the getting all the new heroes unlocked for
mhm,
an existing account thing that they offered, which I think should
mhm,
have just been if you had an existing account, you should have gotten these first heroes. It shouldn't have been on a time limit.
definitely. Especially with people, changing over to the new Overwatch. It wasn't just like
Well, the
you
thing
didn't
is,
play.
you're moving, you're doing whatever, like you
Yeah.
know, he's working. Didn't think about it, and people were on. You wanted to play with people, and all of a sudden, he doesn't have Sojourn, Kiriko, Junker Queen, and it's like the
Oh
thing
God,
is,
that's right.
yeah, Junker Queen. I think was there's one more.
Oh,
Ramatra.
you
He
talking
didn't have
about
Ramatra either.
the tank?
Yeah, Ramatra, because this season, because he came back this season,
Yeah.
so he had none of them. And the thing is
Uh,
that with a new account or whatever, because there's a brand new account today, they're not going to be eligible for competitive for a while. My buddy, eligible for competitive, can't use Sojourn, who's been a meta pick for a while.
I've
He's
been
a
enjoying her
DPS main.
too.
That's what I
I
mean.
mean,
She's
you have to
really
be able to
good.
aim, otherwise she's not great at all. But yeah, if you can aim those headshots, especially with the railgun, sliding around to get out of danger, she can be a menace.
Yeah, she is a menace, and I've disliked this. The fact that they sell access to the heroes pisses me off too.
Oh, definitely. Especially because when I used Call of Duty as an example, because it's another game they own where they do something similar, there are not many differences in guns in terms of what you're using. If you're using an AR, you've got most of the ARs, give or take. Um, when you're using a character and the entire character is a certain kit, not having access to that is very different, especially for a team meta. It's not the same thing as a different SMG or a different sniper. Um, because while I can see that being frustrating, having an entire hero locked is an entire kit. It's a move set. In some
Well,
cases, it's a
let's look at
tank you need. It's a
Lifeweaver for
healing.
instance. Lifeweaver has literally there's no one like Lifeweaver.
Yeah,
They can
which I
manip.
appreciate.
That's what I mean. Like they can manipulate the battlefield the way he does.
Mhm.
There's no replacement for him. Like there's other ones you could pick that might be suboptimal. I'm not saying that he's going to be meta
Yeah,
because
we have
right
no
now I'm
idea
thinking
yet.
he's not overpowered, but we'll see. We'll have to see what happens with
Yeah,
it when I actually get my hands on it.
because it feels
Because
like in terms
it's
of
sounding
healing,
like
he's
I'm the
not.
only person who's going to actually like this character of the people I play with.
I mean, I'm excited to see what they're like, but I personally for playstyle, and this is just what I imagine. There's no character like this. I would love to see a character. I'll use support as example. Um, think of Zen's balls. Throwing one on a teammate, throwing one on an enemy. But instead of damage or healing, it saps life from the enemy and gives it to your teammate. Or you could put one on a teammate, one on another, and sap the health from the first one to the second guy. There needs to be, of course, a reason for the give and take, and I'm thinking it's based on damage. If you have
Possibly.
support players that's constantly ignoring healing and just wants to do damage, similar to how Brigitte works, make their damage turn into healing. Throw an orb out, and as it hurts enemies, you have a health orb that heals teammates. And I don't mean like Moira. I mean like imagine uh an orb that opens up and does an AoE effect at a location you hit, similar to Sojourn's LB, how they throw out that little
I think you could totally do a character kind of like that, but I feel like I don't think you need the orbs for it. I
Oh
think
yeah, that's just an example scenario. I'm trying to think on the top of my head.
the thing is, Lifeweaver seems to have taken a lot of inspiration from World of Warcraft, and particularly druids and priests. Like
Yeah,
Life Grip is literally a ability that priests get in WoW. So, and it
yeah,
and it is just as trolly there as it is other places, but it's also like insanely good.
yeah,
Especially in, I love what they were showing it in, showing off the capture the flag only map, because that is one
yeah.
of the maps where an ability like Life Grip becomes literally broken.
Well, yeah, that's the
It's-
thing. Are they going to make it so you can bring someone when they have it? Are they going to drop it if you use it on them? How is that going to work, kind of thing? We'll have to find out.
yeah, it is definitely one of those things where it's like, what? Um, that's good for Overwatchy fun and craziness. I'll just put some video files that I had. Oh. Well, Alan Wake showed up on the video feed because I needed footage, and
Big fan of Alan Wake. Nice
I
guy.
am.
Nice guy.
Nice guy. He's a great guy.
I can't wait for the second one. I loved
Yeah.
American Nightmare. The first one was fantastic.
American Nightmare is such a mess.
It is, but it was fun, and it gave me
It's
more of the world.
it's a fun mess, but I kind of feel like they're ignoring it with the sequel.
Oh, absolutely.
Is
With
it,
all the teasers we got, nothing from American Nightmare made sense. I
especially if you
think.
played Control? Did you play Control?
Oh yeah, I've played all their games to
Did you
completion.
play AWE in
That was
Control?
the not
The
expansion, the
Alan Wake
DLC with.
expansion.
Yep,
Okay.
I love
I
that.
haven't I haven't finished it. I'm at the very end and I need to like grind. And I just haven't had the urge to go grind levels to be able to go
I,
fight the boss.
After I had beaten the main game on the hardest difficulty, I had already maxed everything. So in terms of the DLC, I didn't have to do any grinding, so I was able to just breeze through it. But there was a lot of nods to Alan Wake, Easter eggs about it. The story continuation was cool. I'm really excited to see what they'll do. And I think the reason American Nightmare is not that it's not canon, but it was supposed to be a Night Springs episode, like a what if scenario for their Twilight Zone show. And I think that's what that was. Like an
Oh, Night
alternate.
Springs is not Twilight Zone. It's actually another one.
Oh, is it?
It's I think it's more like the Outer Limits.
Oh, maybe. I just remember the quote when it's like do 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 do, and it's like in Night Springs. It just reminds me of
It's
in
definitely
the
it's
Twilight
definitely
Zone kind of thing.
it's Twilight Zone and Outer Limits are kind of the same, but like the older Outer
Hmm.
Limits was kind of like that. But it's
Gotcha.
one of those shows where you just watch stuff, and Control kind of fits perfectly into that sort of bazonkers ass scenario.
Oh,
Uh,
and that's a good point. That's hilarious. Supposedly, they all share a world, their games, including Quantum Break, which means
which is extra weird because Jesse Faden's played by the same actress, and
exactly. But I
so is
mean,
that alternate
we still don't
dimension
know.
her or
Yeah, we don't know how that works because they were heading towards the end of time, and we still don't know what's happening with Beth or if there's going to be a sequel ever. But apparently, there's someone who can control time, someone who can write reality, and technically, whatever the hell Jessie can do, she's just like a wizard at this point. Magical. time dimension distorting creature. So we have a lot of insanely overpowered protagonists in a crazy world, um,
I don't know if
where there's
Alan would
just
get along with the other two.
I feel like Alan would be the character who thinks he's the lone wolf and has to learn to work with this team because it's
I don't.
costing him.
I honestly don't think they're gonna do a crossover or anything at any point besides what they've done.
I don't know. I could definitely see one later. Technically, all of these games are just the first game, besides Alan Wake, which has had a mini sub game and then references to every other game in every game. Um,
Yes, because he's a
because it was the
famous.
first.
He's a no, but he's a famous author, and everyone knows
Oh
about Alan
yeah,
Wake. The fact that in Quantum Break, I think this
you talk
isn't a
about the
spoiler.
class in the beginning.
Yeah, this
Yeah.
isn't a spoiler, but on the if you're gonna play Quantum Break, I know it's leaving Game Pass soon because of a licensing issue, but it is
But
coming
it is
back.
coming back.
It
Yeah.
is coming back. It's just there's a licensing issue and they have to sort through it.
But yeah, that was
So
great news to hear that it's
yes,
not leaving forever. They sorting it out. 'Cause that's a huge recommendation. That game is fantastic.
but you have to play Alan Wake first. Otherwise, it's a giant spoiler for Alan Wake in the
Oh yeah,
begin.
I
Like it's
forgot.
like, oh
That's a
my god,
spoiler.
it's
Yeah.
huge spoiler. It's
I
so
guess if you
big.
don't know though, you don't realize what's there. You might
You
not even know the
don't.
character. And then you play it later and you're like, "Wait a minute. Hold the fuck up."
Yeah. Oh my god, Alan Wake is such a good game. It is.
And quick shout out for the late Lance Reddick, who is
Oh,
fantastic author. Uh, 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 Not author. I'm thinking of Alan Wake
actor,
still. Fantastic actor. Very supportive of the game industry in general. He was in Destiny. He was in
Quantum
Quantum
Break.
Break.
Yeah,
He
he was
was
a big
in
part in Quantum Break. He's playing the
oh, he was
character he always
huge.
plays in games like that.
Yeah, but it's such a great character.
The
I
like
don't
anti-hero.
mind. Yeah, it's kind of like, is he a villain? Is he a
I don't
hero?
think I don't think he was either. I think he does what he had to do to uh to get by. Like
Yeah,
to sleep
well,
well at
he
night.
was working against the villain while also working with the villain, but he was also manipulating him to get the ending he wanted. There was a lot of questions with his character because a lot of things weren't answered, but a lot of things were brought up. And quick spoilers, I'm just saying spoilers, don't listen if you haven't played Quantum Break yet. He did die 3 or 4 times. And the idea is that there's multiple versions of him working in between the stutters, and he is one of those creatures that has like exists outside of time. So as long as there's a version of him that is alive, it can exist in the different timelines. It's really confusing, but I always read up on it because Hatch is such an interesting character. I hope they find a way to expound upon him, but I know he wouldn't be able to work on the next game with them after his passing. So it's hard. I want more of that character. I'm interested, but I also don't want someone to take his place because I really respect him as his role. And he was such a nice guy. It's a hard spot to be in. It's as a fan, it's frustrating, and I don't really know what to do.
Uh I think Quantum Break was is a good game, but it
Mhm.
does come with the caveat, and I need to caveat this that there's literally like half-hour episode cutscenes in between bit. Is it half hour or an hour?
I believe there were 30 or 40 minutes because there's no commercials. So it was only, if it was an hour, it was 40, and if it was half an hour, it was 25 or something like that for actual runtime. Now, you don't technically need to watch those, but they are super good for world building, super helpful for understanding in between the acts what's going on, and they're honestly really good. I I like them. They're the exact same actors who do all the mocap and faces and stuff because a lot of the people in the game are actually actors, not just voice actors. Um, so it was actually really interesting to see these characters come to life as actual people and then play them in the game, which still looks stupid beautiful. It came out in like 2016, but it's honestly one of the few games that I can compare to games today and still be like, this looks really good.
Yeah, Remedy's games always look really good. I don't. Did it get it? I don't think it ever got a 1X
No, as far as I
enhancement.
know, it doesn't have any enhancements or upgrades. I mean, it's not the day one version, but it's the same version that launched back then. It's had no upgrades or tweaks, save for bug fixes. That's it's an
I,
interesting universe. I'm a sucker for time travel stuff in general, so of course
uh,
I get giddy.
kind of glad that it was done. The game was received well.
Yeah, it was one of the few things even people who didn't like Xbox were proud of. They're like, "Oh, this is your one exclusive," or "This was actually something good.
It came out
Hope
in
Xbox does more."
2015. No, 2016. It came out actually.
I think it was right near the beginning of 2016. Although it feels like forever ago. Although I guess it is like 7 years old now.
It's 3 years after the launch of the Xbox One.
Yeah,
Um,
but it also never got the Series X upgrade, even though it's, only part of the Xbox One generation. Which is interesting because most of the first party,
I was looking quick to see if it did or not.
I don't believe it did.
I
I could
don't
be wrong.
see anything listed,
There
but
is one thing to tell people who are going to play it. Um, it's not as bad now as it was then, but it's a big game. I believe if
if
you
you
have
download
the
the cutscene,
episodes,
yeah, if you download the
yeah,
cutscenes, they're Blu-ray quality though.
yeah,
If you
it's gorgeous, but it's like 140 or 150 gigs with both the game and the cutscenes.
they couldn't have run them
And
off the disc. They could have run them off the disc if you had the disc, but is the
yeah,
physical? Do you have a physical? I'm just curious. I've seen
I
them like
have
everywhere.
both, physical, and then I have access to a digital copy too. I don't remember how much space it saved me. It's been a while since I used the physical.
Yeah, but I was just was it just one disc? It was one disc.
Oh yeah. Um, I don't think I've played anything that had more than one disc since the 360 era. Going into the Xbox One, I think it's always been a single disc.
Cyberpunk has two discs, and
Oh, that I didn't do physical, so I did not realize.
Cyberpunk does. Tales of Arise has two discs, but it's also got both an Xbox One and a Series version on it. Do I
Funny
have any
thing
others?
about that, I got the collector's edition, but because of COVID, they had to send it to me late. Bandai felt bad and gave me a free digital code for a copy. So that's the one I have opened. The collector's edition came like a day and a half later, so it was not at all a rush. But the fact that they gave me a free code, I have it unsealed. Uh, I mean, sealed and unopened. So I don't actually know how many discs it has because I've got the sealed copy in there with the statue and stuff. Because I already have a digital code I can play, which is cool of them. So I didn't realize that for that game either. I'm goofy with my physicals, apparently.
Yeah, Metro Exodus also has complete edition has two discs. I know a few of them
Ironically,
do.
I have both Metros physical except that one. That one is also digital for me.
It's kind of a big game. You have to download the Series X patch though on it.
Oh,
Pretty big.
those always made me laugh when you pick up the box and on the box it's like, you need internet access. This is not enough for the game. Make sure you buy me with internet access so I can download the game. It always came off as funny to me, especially the ones that are like, nothing is in this box except a code.
Why would you buy it then?
I don't know. When I worked at Toys R Us almost a decade ago, um, people would buy Fortnite because they sold it in the store and they thought that was the only way they could play. Not only did they not know it was free, they got mad and sometimes came back and was like, "Where's the disc?" It's like, "There's no disc. What are you talking about? There's a founder's code or some crap in there." Uh, yeah, people would buy that stuff all the time. Not in a rude way when I say this, but the casual audience or audience that doesn't play a lot of games doesn't actually pay attention to most of the problems in the industry, the changes, the shifts. They just buy what they're interested in or see on TV. Sometimes it really is that simple. It's not about the crazy advertising or the trailers. Kid sees a game on TV, sees the logo of whoever has the marketing rights, assumes it's only on that, and gets it there with all their friends.
Yeah. Yep. I was just checking for other games that I knew had more than one disc, but I
No
don't think I
worries.
have any more.
Yeah, not everyone is terminally online. Unfortunately, a lot of people are terminally online.
It seems like only the crazy people are, and people like me who just have friends all over the place and really
Well,
can't
yeah,
afford to not
exactly.
be online.
Yeah, and I'm in the same boat where I have a lot of friends online, with, jobs today and society in general. You just spend a lot of time online in general, whether it's to talk to people, hang out, plan things. Uh, it's made the world a lot smaller in a lot of good ways, but it definitely has some unfortunate side effects of making people living in their house a lot more because that's how you see everyone, that's how you do everything. It's an interesting world. And
It
it evolves
is.
so quickly. It's crazy to me that 15 years ago, we didn't even have the concept of these touchscreen phones that we have.
Yeah, touchscreen phones have been around for a long time. They're just
How
more
long?
widespread.
Like 2005?
2005? That would have been like a long time, a lot more than 15 years ago. So.
Not too much. I mean, that'd be
Hmm.
almost 20. It'd be like 17 years ago.
Like touchscreens have been around for a while before, but like touchscreen telephones, I definitely remember
Yeah,
there
like
being
I'm
like
thinking of
touchscreens.
basic
No, there were
iPods,
like,
iTouches.
but they were like touchscreen like phones. They didn't
Yeah.
last very long. No, I mean like phones that you plugged into the wall, like regular
Oh
phones with a
yeah.
touchscreen thing on it that existed. So you're like
Yeah.
touchscreens, because the concept of cell phones has been around for a while too. But
Yeah.
like when I was a kid, cell phones were like a thing you had in your car.
I remember the car phones. It would
Yeah,
Oh, that was the weirdest thing. You had to like plug it in your car's battery and then like hope that lived long enough for you to make a long range phone call. Do you remember and this is a good example if people played Yakuza, when they had the reference to the one guy who was an early adopter and he had the really expensive uh portable phone that like chugged batteries and lasted for like 14 minutes, just long enough for like a phone call. Stuff like that did exist and
yeah.
it was very expensive, but it's also really interesting to see the industry, where it goes, where these ideas come from. Oh, uh-oh. I just saw
This
apparently
one,
the Super Mario Bros. Movie. It's sitting at a 48% on
I
Rotten
did.
Tomatoes.
Is that worse or better than the old one? I need to know now. Because Bob
What,
Hoskins,
the original?
yeah, Bob Hoskins. I don't care what anyone says. That movie's unironically great.
Oh yeah, it feels more like a parody than a serious thing, which is fine.
Yo,
It's Mario.
I think the thing about the Mario movie, like, as the way it was, the old one. I'm talking about Bob Hoskins, and I can
Yeah.
never remember. Is it Leguizamo?
Yes.
I think. Okay, I said it right.
Leguizamo.
I love him. He was so
Yeah.
good.
I remember
If
they
you've
even
never,
talked about the
if
new movie.
but I'm not gonna go see it in theaters.
No, they
I,
were just like, well, they didn't even ask us if we wanted to be in it. It's like, I love you guys. You're wholesome. They were never going to ask you, unfortunately. They're going to pretend that thing never existed.
Bob Hoskins and John Lesma, they were drunk on whiskey the entire time. Like, they were
Oh,
like
yeah. It's the only way they
wasted.
could get through it.
They were wasted on set.
It must
Like
have been fun for them just to make the movie.
the movie is like, I wouldn't say it's not bad, but it's not a bad movie. It's entertaining. It does what a good movie should do, is
Yeah,
be
it does what it
entertaining.
set out to do. It didn't tell an epic tale. It had fun. It entertained you for the most part.
Yeah, and people who like unironically hate it don't understand that it's it
Yeah,
was never
it's a
gonna
shut your
be
brain off movie.
it was never gonna be a cinematic masterpiece.
Exactly. And to be honest, I don't think it should be.
Yeah,
It's about
and
a plumber who stomps on turtles.
that's the same thing about the new one. I don't. I don't know. Like putting Chris Pratt and all that in it. I don't know.
Well, the thing I'm worried about with the new one, the more I saw of it, the more they kept showing off female empowerment stuff. When Peach is already a powerful and interesting character, like apparently the story is Luigi gets captured, Peach trains Mario so he can save him. I don't know much more than that, but there's a bunch of scenes where she's like, "We have to do this. I have to show my people I'm powerful," and it's like they're toads. No one cares about any of this. We want
I
to see
mean,
you guys do the cool stuff. There's no big message behind anything.
if it's the thing is, I'm not against female empowerment in a movie,
Oh, of
but
course.
it's you could have just had them go together on. It's like they're rewriting everything, and I'm not okay with
Exactly.
that. And
And,
the
and that's
thing
what I
is
mean.
that they got Miyamoto to work on it, and
Yeah.
Miyamoto's like Shigeru Miyamoto is a gameplay first kind of guy.
Yeah.
He is not the kind of guy to ask to what to make how to make a movie good. I'm sorry.
Yeah. And as cool as Miyamoto is about some things, he's really less cool about others. Like
Yeah, that's why Paper
when he
Mario
gets
sucks.
stuck. Yes. Oh God, I could talk for years about that. It's so frustrating. I won't. I'm not gonna do that to all you, but I could.
Just play Bug
Miyamoto,
Fables. Just play
yes.
Bug Fables.
Bug Fables is what Mario Party, Paper Mario would have been if Miyamoto hadn't messed with it, kept touching it.
No,
Um,
Miyamoto just doesn't like uh stories in games. Doesn't think they're necessary. And to a
yeah,
certain extent, I don't disagree. There's a lot of games that don't need a story.
absolutely. But I think it's a time and a place kind of thing.
But if
Some
you're
games
playing an
definitely don't.
RPG,
Exactly. That's
RPGs,
supposed to be there. That's the fun part. The story. That's how you do the role play part. Otherwise, it's just game.
otherwise you end
There's
up
no
with
RPG.
Sticker Star. Is it Sticker
Yeah.
Star or
Well, that was one of them. Sticker Star did it. Uh, Paper Jam did it. I mean, look at the Mario and Luigi Superstar Saga series. It slowly died off, and then they closed the studio.
Yep,
Poor guys.
yep. The Superstar Saga or whatever.
Yeah, the
Alpha Dream, wasn't it?
I believe so. Yeah, I'm like, it's not Quantic Dream. It's something Dream.
No, Quantic Dream is David Cage's studio.
Yeah.
Jason, Jason. Okay, I'm done. I'm not gonna do anymore. I'm not gonna do anymore. I
Oh,
promise. I promise I won't rip off.
ironically, ironically, my friend just sent me the. Do you remember the 500% realistic faces theme that was going around with that and Resident Evil 2 remake? They they sent me one in case anyone hasn't seen it. The faces with the super realistic like 500% are so goofy looking. It's like the models tried to get realistic and then they hit uncanny so the skin peels back and you see teeth and the faces contort and move around in funny ways. Same with the body. Um, I'm sure there's you've seen pictures, but if not, just look up the 500% realistic for Resident Evil and basically any David Cage game. They're hilarious. And my friend, of course, recently was on a kick of watching them. She's like, "You have to watch this." I can't not laugh every time I see this. It's been years, and the faces they make, they're kicking, objects around them when they move because their models are so broken. They keep taking up space in different areas and stretching. It's hilarious, and it's a good example of how you can toy with and mess with these engines and models to still get some goofy fun out of it, no matter how serious the game is. Because those are
For
both,
sure.
for the most part, decently serious games, and they're great. But it's great to be able to make them funny too, for when you're doing replay value stuff.
Yeah, I the thing is like replay value is what you make of it. And
Yeah,
like even Alan
exactly.
Wake here, this is running on my PC, just so
Hmm.
everyone's understanding here. I am playing on a controller, but this is the PC version, not the 360 or the
Oh yeah,
um
that's true. It did get a kind of remake.
I have that too. I'm a crazy
I don't know why I
person.
said kind of. No, it's a great game. What do you mean? It
The
is a
remake?
remake. It's just not a remake.
No, it's something fancy now.
Yeah,
Um,
which is fine. That's what the word used to mean.
it's It's fine what it is. It's not. I kind of wish they'd do more, but they would have done a little more with it, like polished it up a bit more. Because basically, my understanding is the Xbox version runs on the 360 code path still,
Yeah,
but has like the new code of paint over top.
exactly. Like they didn't mess with any of the underneath,
The
the hood
PC,
kind of stuff, really.
yeah, the PC version had this really weird issue where the transparency on like foliage wouldn't render in properly. So it rendered like this big they rendered as like big white blocks.
There's something out there. The
It was
shadow's taking over
I'm
the
like
trees.
this is not right. Oh,
Yeah. I
great
think
game.
the interesting thing about Alan Wake 2 is going to be how long it's been since there's been an Alan Wake game. In terms of gameplay, they've gotten better every game. They've always had fantastic stories, but the gunplay and gameplay elements have always gotten more interesting. Even Alan Wake with American Nightmare. Alan Wake's combat wasn't fantastic. It was serviceable, but it had some frustrations. The ideas were cool. American Nightmare expounded upon that a bit and improved it. Quantum Break did even better with its combat and some of the powers. And for better or worse, because some people don't like it, but I think Control had great combat. It feels like they keep improving and working on things that just didn't work as well in the past.
It's gonna
So I'm
been
interested.
have been 13 years since Alan Wake
Yeah,
1 came
since the
out.
original, right? Yeah.
Yeah, it was 2010. The PC version
And
came out a little later. Like, yeah, these character models don't look that great in this
yeah,
footage.
which I get. It was 3 years before the next generation happened, so it was still mid-generation of the 360 era. But that's another great point. It's been so long. Remember what happened with Duke Nukem Forever when they kept changing the styles of gameplay because the game took so long to make? You could almost see every level was a different period of time. Here's the nitty-gritty level where things
Well,
are like grayscaled and
did you see the have you seen that the fans are rebuilding the leaked code of Duke
yeah,
Nukem Forever into a like actually playable game? I think
yeah,
it was
they
Unreal.
are on a
Duke
journey.
Nukem. I wish them all the best because
Exactly. It's not an easy task that they're trying to do. The developers didn't even know how to do it.
running things on the
Uh,
360 in the late gen we got and the 360 in particular, and Alan Wake suffers from this a bit, is because it used
mhm.
DVDs still.
Exactly, yeah.
There's
They
a lot
hadn't
of
switched over to
compression
Blu-rays.
artifacts and that so the yeah with no massive file sizes or whatnot, it's a problem.
Exactly. The game had fantastic music, though. A great story.
Alan
Um,
Wake's music so good, but there's a lot
it
of
really
licensed
is.
music in it, which actually
Yeah,
caused problems with it getting delisted from Steam. But
which is also what's happening
thankfully,
with Quantum Break.
I don't know if it's well, it's getting removed from Game Pass because of a thing, but it's not getting delisted from the store like Alan Wake did.
Yeah, no, they're fixing it before that happens.
Yeah,
But it's for the exact same reasons, unfortunately. And also, it could be because of the actor's likeness and stuff like that. Luckily, it's not anything that can't be fixed, but that is one of the problems you run into when you use these ultra realistic character models and mocaps of real people. There's been some trouble with Judgment releasing on certain platforms because of that.
Judgment. The Judgment
Yeah,
thing was very different. Um, I can go into it if you like. I don't know if you
sure.
how close you followed it. What
I
happened was
remember. Oh, go on.
what happened was is the original actor for actors in Judgment. I don't know if it was the main character or someone else got caught doing cocaine,
Yes.
and that's a big no-no in Japan, like a huge no-no.
To be
So
fair,
what?
it's a no-no everywhere, but yes, in Japan, it's a
It's
higher
it.
level of no-no.
Well, the thing is, like, how many actors here do we know have been caught doing cocaine? It's very
That
dumb.
depends. When you say caught, do you mean by someone who's trying to stop them or someone who joined in?
Basically, it's just like In North America, it's not as big a deal. In Japan, it basically ended this dude's career.
Yeah, at least if you're a celebrity here. If you're a nobody, though,
And
they'll
Sega
throw
had
you
to
away.
recast. Now Judgment
Yeah,
came out
I think it was.
originally in, oh my god, when was it? Makes me wonder if those old PS4 Japanese PS4 copies are gonna be worth more later because there's different actors
Yeah,
in them. Because
exactly.
it was on the
Uh,
market for a bit
yeah,
and then it
for a
got just
bit.
pulled.
Yeah, and then Lost Judgment almost didn't even release on other platforms and PC because they didn't want people to mess with the actor and his face because of other things he does in acting roles and his popularity. They were worried if they put it on PC, modders would be able to distort his face, put him in,
Oh,
a diaper or an outfit, stuff like that. And they're really serious about defaming
oh no
their
no no.
actors there.
That's actually that's not the actor. That's just the talent agency, which is run
Oh,
by
the
the
talent
literal
agency itself.
yakuza. No, they're
Oh, the
notorious for
irony.
this. They're literally notorious for this. You can look up. If you look up if any of their characters appear in like a magazine or something, and it's online, and someone puts a picture online for advertising purposes, they're a black silhouette. I
Is this the
couldn't.
same group with the
I could.
horses? So the anime with the horse girls, the ones that they send messages to, like if you touch or draw this, we'll kill you or come after you, kind of thing? Or is
I
that a
don't
different
know.
group of
I'm not
yakuza?
sure. I have to double check. I just know that these guys that this excuse me, this studio this agency is absolutely insane for it.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
funny, but
Judge
fucked
Eyes,
up.
as it was called, was released on, yes, 2018. The show, Tokyo Game Show, was released not that far afterwards, and then um, Pierre Take, one of the actors whose license was used for the thing. Yeah, Pierre Take in the game.
Hmm.
It was. I'm trying to read through this really quick, but it's really just like all sorts of things.
Sorry, I'd scrolled by in
Oh,
our chat. The 4K had just posted the Babylon Bee. They write fake news. And it was just Chat GPT launches every nuke on the planet after being asked to write another Sonic the Hedgehog fanfic.
oh
I just got,
no!
I just got caught off guard by that.
Oh my god! Judgment came out in 2021. It had a
Lost Judgment did.
no no the the western side of Judgment when
Oh,
it finally got re-released. Uh,
gotcha.
it came out on Stadia,
Oh, the irony. There's actually a lot of cool things that skipped people but went to the Stadia.
and then Stadia died. So,
Yeah, and then some of the games just died on there with it. They didn't go anywhere else.
uh, Johnny and Associates is the talent agency, I believe.
That sounds sketchy to be honest, just even as a name. Hey, yo, Johnny and friends.
Uh, Babushki Sadi. Babushki. Oh, okay, talent. Former Johnny Hitagawa. They changed their name. They managed Male Idol, known as Johnny's.
I'm sure
But
that's more normal for them, but hearing multiple Johnnies, especially when a Johnny is slang for other things, it's an interesting choice. Is that a direct translation, or do they also use the word Johnny?
Johnny's.
It's
Johnny's.
kind of great.
That's apparently what they're called now. Oh, the founder was Johnny Kitagawa.
That
So it
makes more
makes more
sense now.
sense now. It's named
Yeah,
after him. Uh,
that's cute.
boy bands. But yeah, so that's apparently they're notorious for stuff like you could see that like the cover of the magazine will have like the characters on it, but when they advertise it online, their faces won't be there at all. It's just like a black outline. It's like you could buy this magazine. Here, check it out. It's weird.
It's so
Absolutely.
funny too because you could have 4 million people with very similar silhouettes and not have any idea who these people are. You take away those key
It,
features.
I think it would tell you who the no, like it's just like a black blob on the. It's so
Oh,
weird.
it's not even a shape.
It's like a shape of them, but it's just like a black blob. Like it's not even like they just up the contrast on it. It's just like put like they did a cutout of them. It's just a black blob and put it over top. That's what it looks like. Like they're completely blacked out, so you can't like just turn up the brightness or something to see who it is. Because people would
That'd be
do that.
hilarious. Yeah, exactly. Someone's just like, I can find a way. I can make this work.
Did they ever get um Judgment on PC? I don't think they did.
I don't know. Well, no, I think they got Judgment. I don't know if they got Lost Judgment.
Let me
Because
check quick.
Lost was the sequel.
I'm just gonna look at
Like, look up on Steam.
I'm doing. I got it open right now.
Sounds good.
Lost Judgment is here, so that means yeah, both are here. They did get it sorted.
Okay, that's good. Because I remember that being a problem at least into 2022. I'm glad it
Yeah,
got sorted though, so people can enjoy it on there.
people should be able to
That's
enjoy
one thing
games
I do want to
everywhere.
bring up. It is frustrating uh, to see how people react when they get skipped for a game or a sequel compared to how we're told to act when we get skipped constantly. Like the the absolute level of frustration I've seen people have when they, like on PlayStation or PC, get skipped by a company for a specific game, and then they turn around and forget completely how they feel, and then say crazy shit to people who are going through the same thing on a different platform. It's mind-boggling. There's so many great games that you'd think these fan bases would want to share just passionately. More people to enjoy it. Get that brand bigger so you can see more of it. I mean, isn't one of the fun things about watching a TV show or a movie sharing that experience with someone who hasn't done it yet? You see a good show or a movie and you're like, I want to tell my friends about this. I want them to see it so we can talk about it. It feels like that's not the point, but one of the big draws of seeing these really cool things. So you'd think with video games, it'd be the exact same thing. You'd be like, I love the story, the characters are great, the game was fun. I want to share that experience with everyone. But instead, it feels like the opposite. For some reason, people are like, I enjoyed this experience, but it was my experience alone. And no one else should feel it unless they felt it the way I did. So I'm going to share this experience with only people in my bubble who also feel this way. It's such a weird way to spin the hobby. I don't get where the mindset comes from.
I don't either. The like I understand there was a lot of tribalism going around with
Oh, of course.
the way the Xbox One launched, and it was popular to dunk on Xbox because they were messing up.
Yep. It seems like no matter what happens, if it seems goofy or funny enough, people will run with it until they forget it was a joke. Like PC Master Race. That started as a joke making fun of PC people. It was the idea that you thought you were better than other people. So it was used for mockery. And it was actually made by uh, the guy who does Zero Punctuation, Yahtzee Croshaw, I think is his name. I always
Yahtzee,
fuck up
you
his
say
last name.
Yahtzee.
Yeah,
Everyone knows him as just
Yahtzee.
Yahtzee.
That's true. Yahtzee from Zero Punctuation still does his stuff on their website and YouTube. Great guy, funny guy. He reviews games very quickly. very angrily, very Britishly, and it's great.
Let's say
But
it's
he also is
Britishly, but
no
it's
nonsense.
just the way he does it. He's no nonsense. Just does what he wants.
He makes a lot of British references and jokes, sometimes food ones too. But I guess,
The thing is, that
yeah,
doesn't seem British to me because I grew up with people who talk like that. I have a
that's
lot of
true.
British family,
It
so it's
just
just like
feels
they
normal to
talk
you.
like that, and I'm just like, ah, yes,
It's just
yes.
normal. And yeah, he's great, he's funny, but he's a no-nonsense guy who doesn't take shit from games, from companies, anyone. So he's very straightforward and blunt. And he's not afraid to say it like it is, damned be the repercussions. So he says stuff like that, and as a PC guy himself, he enjoys PC, but he hates that elitist attitude. So he was like, "Oh, these PC Master Race idiots," and created it as a joke, mocking them. And people still use the picture to this day, like 14 years later, or 13, whatever it is now. It was definitely early 2010s or late 2000s. But they use the picture he created as a mockery of themselves as a badge of honor now, as they continue to do it. But now they wear it with pride. And I feel like, unfortunately, that's the internet in a nutshell. It almost doesn't matter what something starts as, whether it's a positive or negative message. People will take that and mold it into whatever they want it to be, and then run with it until everyone forgets what it originally was, and then its meaning takes on whatever people have decided. The
That is
hive
also
mind.
that is also not strictly an internet thing.
Oh, true. I mean, it's just, unfortunately society and the world in general. I guess I said the internet because it's so easy to spread information and ideals on the internet much quicker than running around person to person saying something. But you're right. In general, sadly, a human trait. It could be an animal trait too, for all I know. I don't speak small
It's the
squirrel.
memes.
You do,
Metal Gear Rising Revenge figured this out. Like,
yeah, and that's a perfect
explains.
example because memes just mean giving information through an image. It's just like saying a picture's worth 1,000 words. That's what memes are. It's the idea that a picture gives you information just by looking at it. And we've transformed that into 3 a.m. baked beans with the boys. uh,
I'm gonna
yeah.
see. The thing is, um, it's crazy because there's all sorts of kanji and stuff out there. But if I sent you
Mhm.
this one, and you'll understand where I'm going with this as soon as I send it to you, and I don't want to just send it out. It is not here. It is one. That
Yes,
is the perfect example. I don't want to bring it up in
exactly, of
voice,
course.
but that is the perfect example.
Exactly. For something
If
that meant good luck.
Munzi, what is it?
Or at least it did many years ago.
Uh, Here I'll send you the definition page. But yeah, it's nuts.
Yeah. And you're right, this is a perfect example of it doesn't matter what something is. If you tell
It
enough
can
people
be
it's something else, it can become that.
perverted, twisted, and turned into whatever you want.
Exactly. In the
That's the
same
thing.
way people say you give words power, you give anything power. I mean, if you say something enough and enough people believe it,
What was that?
unfortunately, it becomes true.
I think that's kind of the theme of Alan Wake, actually, is that
Yeah, you're
words
not
have
wrong.
power,
Yeah,
and you give them power. Like you give things power. So
yeah. And that's what society as a whole does. And the more people believe it, the stronger it gets until it basically becomes law. And I guess that's true with Alan Wake. It's the idea that if you give it power enough, it basically becomes the new reality.
the words got power. I don't think I get to that far in this footage. Know I have footage of it, but
Mhm.
the farm. The farm is the perfect
Yes.
example of the theme. So I don't know how you're gonna do. Like, is Alan Wake 2 gonna be Alan Wake without those two? Is
I
is
mean, it'll
is the
be
lamp lady
hard.
gonna be there? Or are we gonna have a new lamp lady? The
I think
ending
a
of
big
Alan Wake,
question too. Yeah,
because
well, exactly. The ending itself is very confusing with Mr. Scratch and where in the continuity and timeline we are. Although from Control, it sounds like it's not a straight line. Like time could be moving differently for him. So I don't know if
well,
they'll use
time does
that.
move differently in the thing. Like he was gone for a week, but for him it felt like an afternoon, and then he remembered the week.
Well, true, but that was when he was also under the influence of the darkness. Now he's just in the dark place, but the darkness, as far as we know, doesn't have an effect on him right now. That's what the whole thing with American Nightmare was, which is also why I was confused if Mr. Scratch, who took his place, was actually as twisted as it looked, or if that was the darkness trying to control him and show him what he feared most. Because we haven't actually seen Mr. Scratch. We've just
No,
seen stuff from American Nightmare.
we haven't actually
And
seen much for Alan Wake 2, except for like
yeah,
him holding a torch.
well, we did see some, but we don't know if it's going to actually happen. You remember in the beginning of Quantum Break when they showed like a 3 minute trailer for Alan Wake 2 stuff? And it was a lot of live action actors doing stuff and trying to figure out what happened to him in the darkness. And then
Oh,
also
I don't think that was like legit. I think that was just um like
referencing it.
them playing with the audience, or maybe just using footage of stuff that they had.
Because I remember they talked about Alan Wake 2 at the time. They're like, oh, maybe you'll find something about Alan Wake here. Maybe a sequel we're working on. Who knows? And then
Control came
it
out.
yeah, exactly. It never got expounded upon. And then after Control, people kind of, I don't want to say forgot, but the hype died down. In the beginning, it was like, yeah, Alan Wake. And it was like, all right, this time thing's kind of cool, but Alan Wake. And the Control came out, and they're like, yeah, Control.
No, a lot of people hate Control, and I don't know why they hate Control.
That's the thing. I've heard some people hate it, but they don't ever have a good reason.
I
They
think
just hate it.
I think people expected it to be something it's not. It's one of those
Yeah.
games that I don't know if it was marketed a certain way. It's a Metroidvania.
Yeah.
It literally is a Metroidvania. It
It absolutely plays like
Yeah, because you revisit places, you get new powers that let you do
exactly. It helps you
things.
traverse the environment. So the whole backtracking makes sense because now you can go to areas you couldn't before.
Yeah, you get keys. Like it is very, like that's the thing. Like, even I consider like original Resident Evil to be kind of Metroidvania esque,
Oh
but in
yeah,
a horror setting rather than like a Castlevania just being a spooky setting. Spooky characters does not make it horror. Don't care
exactly.
what you say.
Especially if the game isn't trying to scare you. Like at that point, it's just an action game with elements from different things, whether it's
Yeah,
supernatural, whether it's you know, uh, the creepy atmosphere with ghosts or something like that. It's not a horror game at that point, and that's why I don't think Resident Evil 4 was a horror game. Um,
they made it a little more spooky in spots. They
oh,
definitely
in this one, I just mean even in the original 4, like
no, it was
it
not
just felt
spooky.
like an action game, even though it's technically zombie parasites, blowing heads off, creepy things, and I was scared at the time as a kid.
I
When
mean,
when the
that's like
parasites came out of people's heads.
that's like saying that um, House of the Dead is scary.
Exactly. It's not what it's trying to be. I mean, that one especially is just a real shooter. Um, Typing of the Dead's a great example because it's fun. Um, it's definitely not a horror game. It's more like Maccabee, you know, typing for third graders, but it was fun.
Back in high school, I brought my copy of House of the Dead, Typing of the Dead on a CD, and because the computers weren't working right in animation class,
hmm
so it was like free. And the
Oh,
teacher
it's
comes
like
over,
fruit
sees us
time.
playing it, and she's like, "You guys typing skills awful." And she's playing it with the hardest difficulty. It's just like it's not registering my keystrokes. And she's so mad.
Oh my god.
I wish camcorders like on
Yeah, it's
phones
like there was a way
existed
to
at the
record
time,
it.
so I could have had this kept forever because it was absolutely
Oh,
hilarious.
that's great. There's so
It
many great memories like that
it
that
was so
are
fun.
hard to recapture because technology is advanced, so we don't run into the same funny
Well, the
situations we
thing
did as
is that
kids.
people used to use those computers because the animation class computers was computer animation. They were like the best in the school, so they could actually run
Exactly.
games
Yeah.
because they had 3D accelerators. So people would like use it at lunchtime and have I think it was Soldier of Fortune was the
Hmm.
game of choice that they
That's
played.
been a while.
Soldier of Fortune 2 Double Helix or something, and these guys would play the
Hmm.
crap out of it at lunch.
There's so many good old stuff like that with, system links or even without the
Well,
internet
yeah,
access, playing with your friends.
because it was LAN set up. I
Yeah,
think someone got Halo running on it at one point.
that
But
would
the
have been
problem is that you
awesome.
had to. The thing with Soldier of Fortune is it was small enough that it was if you could put it on a USB key at the
Hmm.
time, because USB keys were small at the time.
Yeah, I mean, I used to do that even when I was in high school. If there was free time, I'd take my USB out of my pocket, put it in, and play an emulator or something like that. Hell, I did that at college my first year. Oh, when I was done with a class early, I'd just start playing like Castlevania Circle of the Moon. I remember one kid was next to me. He looked over, was like, "Holy shit, you can play Castlevania on here?" So I showed him how to do it, and he just played during his time when he was done, just downtime.
The
It's
thing.
funny.
Emulation is, in my opinion, not a dirty word. Let's
Yeah,
talk about
especially if
emulation
you,
for a bit.
yeah, especially if you use it the right way. Playing a
So
game you already own.
yeah, have you watched Arlo's video on the eShop closure? I don't know if you follow Arlo. I know not everyone
Uh,
does.
the
He's
name sounds familiar.
he's puppet. He's blue puppet monster,
Oh,
like Sesame Street or whatever.
yeah, I know
Arlo.
who he is. I
Okay.
haven't watched that one yet, but I watched some of his
Okay.
stuff.
So he has this thing about it, and he's like, "It's really dumb that this happens." And he was kind of talking about the same things we were earlier when I was talking about how you could totally do DS games on the Switch if you just
Oh
had
yeah.
an adapter to make it run up and down. He didn't think about that, so that's fine. But he was talking about the store closing, and he's like, "Yeah, I'm gonna emulate these games. I don't think emulation should be treated as piracy because you can't steal something from someone when they don't want to sell it to you,
Exactly.
especially when it's digital." And I know
Yeah.
it's gonna get him a lot of hate from people who
Yeah, from the
dislike
dumb
it,
people.
but that's the thing. I don't disagree. Like, I don't think people should go out there and spend $125 plus on a copy of like Fire Emblem Path of
Especially if it's
Radiance
Yeah,
or
especially if it's already by a scalper who's selling it for that value. It's not like you're giving that money to the
yeah,
company.
the dev's not getting any of that money. Like,
Yeah.
if you're
I,
gonna,
I see.
you
Oh, go
should
on. I didn't mean to cut you off.
mod your consoles if you need to play these games. Repair them for longevity. Like, that's the thing. I'm all for repair. Like, if you want to play stuff on original hardware, more power to you. But you should not have to pay like insane scalper rates on some of these games unless you're someone who's collecting for the purpose of collecting. If you just want
Yeah,
to play these games, I should be able to give a company like $5-10 to buy a game. I have to applaud
exactly.
Microsoft for doing something in
Yeah.
this and setting an example for things because like I don't think Sony would have budged if it wasn't
No.
for
I
it.
mean, they still barely budged in terms of how you can play their old games. It's all streaming.
Not all of them.
For Well,
PS1
no. I mean,
games
I
you
mean
can
for the
play on
PS3.
console, but
Yeah.
the fact that you
PS1.
can emulate PS2 games on the Series X easily
Yeah.
is hilarious to me.
But I am on both sides with that, only because I disagree with the people who post things all the time that are like, just pirate every Nintendo game. Pirating Nintendo games is always morally correct. It's not.
Pirating delisted Nintendo games that cost over $100 for a physical copy is
Yeah,
morally correct in my opinion.
I agree with that. I don't agree with day one games that just come out. Like people that are
No,
like, the new Breath of the Wild game, I'm just going to pirate that. It's like, well, no, I want more of these games. So let's support the company. And people are like, but they already have so much money. It's like, well, yeah, in total, but this company for this specific game and these devs getting paid, like, I want more of that. if this game doesn't do well, they don't make more of this game. That's how all of them work. Uh, it's kind of similar to that PC Master Race thing we were talking about, where sometimes people will buy a platform and then feel very entitled to certain things on it, regardless of if they've actually earned anything or if they deserve anything.
Yeah,
It's it's a lot of ego in the
I
video game
really,
world.
I honestly really wish that Microsoft would take the next step forward with emulation on the Series X and
Hmm.
be like, open the floodgates and basically just release like make an emulator that'll run games and be like, you got to troubleshoot these yourself, but we can't get if you can get the original discs, you can run them. Because the thing is, if I put an OG Xbox game in my Series X, it'll go. I know this is an OG Xbox game, but I can't play it.
Yeah, or at least if it's one of the ones that's not on their quote unquote backwards compatibility list.
Like, hold on, let me put Dino Crisis 3 in the old Xbox here.
Imagine Dino Crisis playing. Ha ha
Imagine
ha.
playing Dino Crisis 3, one that I know is not backwards compatible. But this is also
Just
a
imagine
Japanese
playing any
copy.
Dino Crisis. Capcom doesn't even know they exist, and they made the game.
Yeah, if I tuck it in the old Xbox here, it'll tell me. Spin up. We're having trouble verifying. Oh, weird. It used to give me a different error. I think they changed the error.
Oh, what's it say now?
It just says it can't connect to the network. So I think it tries to. So I think
Like,
what
did a
happens
license
is,
check?
yeah, no, it tries to do a check to see if it's. I don't know. Let me try it. What game is backwards compatible? I have installed. Mecha Soul backwards compatible or not?
Is what?
Doing experiment live. Uh, I can't remember which one I don't have installed. Let's try wet.
Uh,
Let's try wet. I know wet isn't, but
yeah. Um, I know black is.
I don't have black. But I have wet.
Hmm. I have a different adjective instead.
I have a different action game instead. Uh, yeah, it says we're having trouble verifying your disk. Actually, I can just switch to the. Hold on. As I do this. There we go. Having trouble verifying the disk. Sleeping Dog's gonna. Is it back compatible? I don't know where I got this copy.
I
Probably.
believe so. You mean like the 360 version?
Yeah, I have it. So let's stick her in there and see what happens.
I say I believe so because I know they also have a remastered version,
I
and I
don't
don't
know.
remember if they took the other one off for that.
Yeah, but if they had it, they already did it or whatever and had it working. Then why would you take it off? Let's see.
I don't know, but I feel like they've done that for a couple games, which felt weird, but like, I guess who am I to suggest things?
No, I guess it can't verify. Uh, KOTOR? KOTOR is right.
Which game?
Knights of the Old Republic.
Yes.
Do I have that one installed though? That is the
I
question.
was thinking, I'm like, we don't have that game. It's gonna be Oh, the original.
Yeah, I've got it right here. Here, you guys can see all the
It
games I have
says
installed.
holding it.
All the games I have installed.
I couldn't go for all the games I have installed because there's 1,200 of them, and people would get bored and leave while I'm talking about
You
each
have
one.
1,200 installed? I'm not going through all of them. I'm just checking to see if KOTOR's installed.
Oh no, I own 1,200. I have 900 installed.
Just
I
uninstall
have a
KOTOR
problem.
quick. I'm just gonna uninstall KOTOR quick for the sake of this demonstration to show you what it does when you put in a backwards compatible
Oh,
game.
so glad to see Luna Knights. It's a great game.
Oh, Toho Luna Knights is fantastic.
It's basically a Metroidvania where you play as Dio and freeze time and throw knives at people.
What? That's just her powers. She's this Toho character.
Oh no, I
Perhaps
know.
loves Saya. Saya?
I I only
Yeah.
reference Dio because everyone unfortunately knows time stopping and throwing a knife as Dio's big thing in part 3. But unfortunately not enough people know about Toe. Even though
Toho.
granted it's a bullet hell, but like 99% of the characters, stories and all that are fan made and the creators kind of
Uh,
ran with it.
Not really. From my understanding, what happened with Toho was that the creators created these cool characters
Hmm.
and just let people do whatever they wanted with it,
Yeah.
and with the power of whatever. But yeah, as you can see, no public installing just fine there. That's how it works when the game actually works. But the thing is, like,
Yeah.
even if you're in dev mode on the Xbox, you can't.
You're just like, I'm the dev. Work.
No, you can't just like put in a
Yeah.
disc and get it to play. Like, I would really like it if they would give you the option to just plop in the disc and let it do its thing.
Now I do understand why they haven't done it yet, but I hope they change their mind because right now, for the same reason, Quantum Break is getting taken off, whether it's licenses, publication issues. If they give us access to an emulator and then say whatever you do, it's on you now, there's a lot of companies that are going to look very angrily at Microsoft because now they gave us access to a lot of games these companies could try to rip us off, by making ports of or telling us we have to buy it again to play it. Um,
I mean, I've
for
got a game in my
instance,
hand here that I know, even if okay, it's an Activision game, and I know
mhm,
that even when the Activision Blizzard deal goes through, no one's gonna
mhm.
miss this game. It's Minority Report. Everybody runs. By
Dude, I
Treyarch. Treyarch
ironically,
made it.
oh yeah, it's great to look back and see their pre-Call of Duty games because they had some bangers.
I don't know if this
I
one was very good.
unironically love a lot of the movie adaptation games. Not all of them were good. Not most of them, or more than half were good, but they were fun. Like the Matrix game on the original Xbox, that game sucked, but it was fun. Oh, slow-mo diving everywhere and running up walls and helicopters shooting the shit out of you because you
Oh,
can't get
Enter
out
the
of the way.
Matrix. Enter the Matrix is awful,
Yeah,
but in the best
yeah, it was
way.
exactly. I miss games like that in terms of like kind of crappy, but in a fun way. Wanted was another good one. The game itself didn't tell a very good story, and it was kind of bad. But the gameplay was fun because you got to aim at people and then curve bullets around shit and kill them, and then you could even
I think.
curve them and follow the bullet, and then you could control it in like slow mo. It was hilarious. I played the demo for that off of another game disc like 400 times.
Well, I
It
mean,
was so cool.
besides besides games like um The Nightmare Before Christmas, Oogie's Revenge, which I know will never get a port
Yeah,
ever.
that was a great game.
It is. It's Devil May Cry,
Exactly.
and
Jack may cry before Christmas.
it's Oogie May Cry. That's what
That's
it
true.
clearly is.
Well, I
But
mean, Oogie did
like,
cry.
it's never gonna. It's the thing is, it's never gonna get. Even when it's never gonna get some sort of thing. Move up here so you can look at some of these other games that are installed. There's some bangers here. This is just on the external SSD that I use for older games. But
Gotcha.
Dark Watch here in my paw. They're never gonna
Such
port
a good game.
this
Do you say in your paw?
in my paw,
Are you?
hand, paw.
Well, so I will let you joke because I'm like, are you mid furry transformation?
No,
You got your paws
no. It's just
in my
I
toe
say that
beans.
sometimes. Toe
No, no
beans.
worries. Um, we've talked about that game a few times because it's so good, and I want it really bad. I
I
want
don't
it to be
know
explored,
who owns High
remade.
Moon. Does Activision own High Moon?
I I think they did at the time. I don't know if they still do.
I'm looking.
My answer is maybe. So I remember I looked it up one time, and I remember being happy with the result.
Sega. No, Activision
That's
owns
why.
them. No,
Oh no, okay.
Activision owns them now until
Was
present.
Sega was the one that owned them, right?
There's a chance. There's a chance it'll get backwards compatible.
Exactly, and that's why I was like,
Yeah, Sega
please tell.
Sammys did hold them until 2004. They were independent, and then
Yeah,
the Vita games owed them until 2008, and then Activision Blizzard bought them.
gotcha. Okay, so yeah,
Dark
that's why I
Watch
was
was their
happy.
first game.
High Moon, you mean?
Yeah,
I think it was one of their first games. I don't know if it was the first. It might
it
be.
says it's their first on this one.
That's crazy.
Capcom published it, so I could totally see Microsoft and Capcom coming to an agreement on it.
Oh yeah. Capcom, for the most part, I still don't understand Battle Network, but for the most part, has been pretty damn cool with Xbox in the last few years.
Oh,
I
Vivida
mean,
Games got okay. So Vivida Venvidi Game Universal Games got acquired
mhm.
by Activision. So now they're subsidiary of Activision.
Okay, so they got merged in.
Yeah. So Activision
Okay,
just bought out. That's Sammy Sega stuff. Sammy Entertainment. After Sega mer- after Sammy merged with Sega to make Sega Sam, Sammy discontinued all video game development in North America and focused on its Japanese one. Sammy, yeah, okay. Uh, okay. So it was formerly Sammy Entertainment, but it got spun off into High Moon. That was in
gotcha.
2001 to 2005. So it was Sammy Studios until it was High Moon. And it was independent
Okay,
between so it's part of Sammy and then it got spun off out of Sega Sammy at one point.
yes, because I don't think it was High Moon on the box, or at least named High Moon
It
at
is
the
High
time.
Moon on the box. 2005.
Is it?
Yeah, this is before the game came out.
When did the game come out? Was it?
2005.
God,
So
I
like
don't know why I was thinking 2003 or 4.
so I
Can't
think
believe it
what
almost launched on the
it's
360.
it's 2005 2006. They were independent. So it was when they were independent. That's why Capcom probably
Yeah, because they didn't
published
have
it.
anyone else.
Yeah, very interesting.
Interesting indeed.
But that means that they're part of Sierra at one point.
Like Sierra Games, who make like Games
Yes.
Quest, Sierra? Oh,
Yeah, but it's crazy how Marvel the acquisition stuff and have been even back in like 2005. But anyway, I'm hoping that since they're part of Activision, there'll be a chance that this gem of a game can come back from the dead, and then we'll get a new one.
yeah. I mean, I'd love that, especially with um Evil West recently. It shows that this is a concept that people are interested in, and it will sell if you make the game. Um, it's not like it's a bled to death genre. And don't get me wrong, I love zombie games. But there was an entire period where there was nothing but zombie games on the market, and people got a little old with it. Especially because it was televisions adapting it, comic books, manga, anime, everything is zombies. I don't think you have to worry about that for vampire, supernatural cowboy stuff. I think there's an untapped gold
Vampire
mine sitting
Cowboys
there.
are untapped. Yeah, we need more Vampire
But
Cowboys.
they won't be untapped for long, in more than one way.
Vampire Cowboys? You better, yeah, probably.
It's two sexy things. If you combine them, it'll either it depends if we're using math or science, where it's like opposites attract or two negatives equals two positives. It'll either be very sexy or very unsexy. And we're only good apart. One of the two. No middle ground.
Middle ground. Oh, the hell? Oh, sorry, V just started getting depressed for no reason on the week.
No
What?
worries.
What? Stop spamming V's.
Have you been
Someone
looking at
sent me
some
a
of the
message.
stuff?
I was trying to sort something out with Incognitus, but it didn't work for me.
Have you been seeing some of the stuff Xbox News for Koreans has been talking about?
Oh, with the. You want to go into that while I'm doing this?
Sure, there's a couple different things. One of them was the the government expressing its willingness to kind of cooperate with the concerns that were raised by Congress when they were talking about the 98% of what Sony has in Japan with the third-party publishers, and they're basically not promoting Xbox at all, but they're also being paid to ignore Xbox when, you know, there's multi-platform things involved. Persona 5 was a good example where even though they had the marketing rights and put stuff everywhere, in Japan, all the posters only said Switch and PlayStation. So you'd assume it's only for Switch and PlayStation. Um, when people say things like they need to do better in Japan or they need to advertise more, if they're being pushed out to the point where they literally can't, that's anti-competition. That's, you know, it's not fair to the consumers, but it's also not fair to the company. So what PlayStation's doing by creating these clauses and putting this all in place is very anti-trade, and that's going to be big if this actually goes through. Um, it's an interesting thing because it shows that for all of us that were frustrated that we're not getting enough out of Japan, relationships, there's also a mini struggle on the consumer side where consumers aren't being told what they can use and they're being strong-armed developer-wise into doing specific things with these exclusions. Um, and people can be mad that that's bad for the companies, blah, blah, but it's also bad for the consumer because it limits your options. I'm not saying you have to like one platform more than the other, but the idea that you only have one choice, that kind of makes you give all your money to one company, whether you want to or not, if you want to enjoy the medium. And I'd be just as mad if, Nintendo or Xbox did that. I think one of the best parts about gaming is the fact that you can play so many different things with so many different people. You can enjoy all these different franchises and mediums, genres in general, in any way you want. It's super inclusive. So it's frustrating that certain games are just excluding platforms in general, and because of the crossplay tax that Sony does, not every game these days can still be played with everyone else. It's also excluded a lot of genres from Xbox. Like the fighting game community almost completely died off. Even though on Xbox there's less controller latency with the way their controllers work, that during the 360 era and some of the Xbox One, it was better to play on an Xbox. However, the games weren't there, except for a few like Mortal Kombat, so the fan bases weren't there. Everyone assumed it was better to play on PlayStation. It's a lot of these misleading factors, and the fact that, as Tristan was talking about earlier, it was fun to bash on Xbox for a while, so it caught on. People just kind of believe what they see, and being led around by, a string and not seeing what's actually happening has caused a lot of arguments, a lot of bad faith to kind of just stir the pot everywhere. And it's been in Sony's favor, which is unfortunate. It shouldn't be happening. It shouldn't be in anyone's favor.
Yeah, this really funny is looking back on the Xbox has no games. In 2013, when the consoles launched, Xbox had the superior launch lineup.
Oh God, yeah.
It's not even a question. Like looking back objectively, their first party lineup was objective better.
Yeah.
You had more like you had the Call of Duty whatever just like Sony did, but you've
Hmm.
also had Rise Son of Rome and what was the other game? Oh my god.
Dead
Dead
Rising
Rising
3?
4? 3? Was it 3
Yeah,
or the
3.
4?
It was free at the time. It had the Kinect controls and stuff integrated. That was a really cool thing.
Yeah.
I still miss the Kinect. It's a
I
good
don't
boy.
I think the Connect shouldn't have been killed the way it was, but it probably also shouldn't have been put in with the console just for the sake of.
Yeah, it was similar to what a lot of Nintendo products run into. I think it was released before its time. It
I
was a
don't know if it's
product that
before its
would
time.
have
I think
been.
that the connection has been optional from the start.
Oh no, it definitely should have been optional no matter when they released it. But I also think the tech wasn't there enough to run some of these crazy cool games that we would be able to today. And I think that's the problem with VR too, where there's some really cool things, but not enough that you can get this at a consumer friendly price and people want to make and work for these games working on it. That was the problem with the Kinect 2. It felt more like it wasn't needed for the games. It was great for other things, whether I wanted to use a webcam, whether I wanted to use snap features or use my voice to control anything on the console. That was awesome. In the games, it kind of was used less because a lot of developers were like, I don't see a reason to work with this yet.
That's the
I
thing.
can't
Like,
do
there
much.
probably would have been a few. I think the Just Dance games used it because
Yep.
I'm gonna be honest with you. Every time I've seen Just Dance played on a Kinect, I am honestly blown away with how good it is. Like, it's
Yeah.
fantastic. It's literally a fantastic experience. I've seen people play it and I played it. It is arguably like one of the best ways to play that game.
I'm gonna look up the name of a game now. There was one indie game that was really creative and cool that used the Kinect completely the way it should have been used, and I wanted to see more stuff like that. Let me double check what the name was really quick.
But the thing is, for every game that was really cool, was it Neck Assault or was it the
Oh, I know what you're talking about. The one where you could control things,
yeah?
like the entire thing.
But the Kinect ruins the experience. It was a downgrade from the original Xbox one. If no one's ever
Yeah.
seen, was it Mech? Oh, what the hell was the name of the game? I can't remember. I remember seeing the ridiculous controller. I still want one of those
It's
controllers.
super expensive, but yeah, it's best played with the entire
I
mount
had like,
controller thing.
oh, the thing was wicked. You basically like had a portable cockpit, but like a
Yeah,
cockpit bit. It was like a giant fight stick. You had
it
two
was
like,
insane
oh,
looking.
it was so cool. But it was for the OG Xbox.
Yeah.
Capcom made it though.
Let me double check. I'm looking at a list now. I'll know the game as soon as it pops up.
Forgotten mech game, Steel Battalion.
Yes, Steel Battalion. That's
Yeah,
it.
the controller for this thing was absolutely ludicrous. It was expensive because you bought the control. I think you didn't have to. Yeah, it had pedals and all these buttons. It was sick.
It was beyond cool, and I would love stuff like that still, especially with some of the tech we have now,
Well, the thing
with
is,
like the camera tracking.
even Flight Sim has controllers like this.
Here it
Like,
is.
there's a gear shift. There's the movement. There's there's two switches here. There's like a bunch of buttons. There's like a crazy red button. I guess it's to blow the thing up. There's a center block. Like, it's got pedals too. This thing was ludicrous.
It was expensive too, but
I think it was
it
like
made
200
sense.
bucks. I
Yeah.
think it was 200 bucks. I remember being 200 bucks. I remember seeing it and it was just a giant box,
Yeah.
intimidating box of coolness.
I remember I told my parents I wanted one. They just kind of looked at me like, "Are you fucking crazy?"
What does a Steel Battalion controller go for nowadays? Because they were really
These
expensive for a
days, I'm sure
while.
it's crazy. Yeah.
No, uh,
Have they gone down in price?
no, because the thing is that a bunch of scalpers wanted it. Like, we're trying to scalp it, but there was like a flood.
Anytime you hear scalpers losing, it's a good day. Love to see it.
Shopping.
Going back to morally correct things, scalpers
900
losing out on money is
bucks.
always morally correct.
Always. That's the Japanese one. That's why it's so expensive. Uh, let's check. I know it was not cheap. Like, I don't expect it to be cheap, but
Yeah.
500 bucks. Controller and sealed game. Oh yeah, because it just came shipped. I remember this is again the Japanese one. It came shipped in like a cardboard box that looked like a ammo crate. Yeah, it sells for about $600 to $800. depending on the quality, if it has the box or not.
Which isn't terrible, only when you consider how much that $200 would be worth today.
Well, I get why it's so expensive. Like it was, you can get the Japanese one for about 500-ish bucks.
You
But
could find a way
again,
to rig that up for any game too.
you
Dark
could.
Souls
This,
playthrough on that went.
I don't think it would be that hard, actually. The thing with the original Xbox controller, it's basically just USB, but just on a proprietary connector. Because I have an adapter to make one to a USB, and you can just plug controllers into it, and it works. But you want to go over the upcoming games for the week? You got a list ready?
I'm about to, but I do have one thing I wanted to say when we were talking about the Connect before.
Oh, go
Look
ahead.
up the game FRU, Fru. It was one of the later Connect games. It was 2016, and it was so creative. This indie game and a great idea. I wish
There, what was
people
it
had
called?
FRU, Fru.
FRU? Just FRU game?
Yeah, at least I think it's pronounced Fru. Could be Fru.
Puzzle platformer for the original Xbox in 2016. Wow, that's late.
Yeah, it was one of the last Connect games to come, and it was a cool idea that I wish more games had tried to give the Connect a chance the way these guys did. They were so happy with how the Connect worked because they could make a game like this. And it got really great reception at the time too. It was just one of those too little, too late kind of things, which is a shame. Uh, it's on a lot of people's like best Connect games list and all that stuff, so it really held
The
up.
thing is that the Connect, like, I know a lot of people hated on the Connect, but the Connect has been used in so many projects that outside of
Oh
gaming,
yeah,
just
it's
because, right?
crazy. Oh, no, 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 go on.
So it's just been, it's so crazy to think of because like the stuff people have made with the Connect is absolutely fantastic, and I really kind of, I don't want to say I hate Microsoft for ditching it, but
Mhm.
I kind of dislike that they just stopped making them entirely. I I know that it left a bad taste in people's mouth because it was being bundled with the console being $100 more because it existed. That's
Yeah.
why being an optional peripheral would have probably been better.
Which they did at the end, or at least halfway through the console's lifespan,
It
near
was
the end of the
it was
Connect.
it
But
was pretty close to the, it was like
yeah,
2014, like, because 2013 they sold out all their consoles, but Sony's selling like 2 to 1.
yeah, especially with that,
Hmm.
awful, rough launch start.
So they took the Connect out, and there's a Connect adapter for the 1S, but it's just been kind of a thing.
Yeah, it's it's rough. It shouldn't be because they had so many cool pieces, but they just couldn't put it together in time. And then they kind of just said, "Eh, it was a good try," instead of saying, "We'll come back to this later," or "We'll put this on hold. Maybe we can make it work." And I get it, from a company perspective, but you
I
still hate to see it.
I still think there is people who would love to have a Connect, even if it was just like, I think the Series S and a Connect and like dancing games would be a route to have. It'd be really nice to see it.
Yeah, and
Has
those were some
anyone
of the ones that
tried
did
the
the best on
adapter?
there.
Has anyone tried the adapter? Because there's an adapter for the Xbox One, or do you need the other HDMI for it?
You might need the HDMI now. I'm not
I'm
sure.
curious. I'm curious.
I still
Uh,
have mine in my closet, both my 360 and my Xbox One version.
well, the Xbox One, you can get an adapter and it will work on the One S because they didn't have the same. I know there was an adapter for it to work, but I
Yeah,
couldn't remember what it needed.
since it's the beginning of the month, should we give a general idea of all the new releases coming this month?
Any of
Or
the, talk about the big ones. We can talk about the Game Pass stuff first if you want, or if you want to just go through the week coming up.
I'll start with the week coming up. It's the 4th. Should I go? Maybe I should just go for the 7th
Did
because the
something come
next
out
stuff
cool
is.
today or no?
Well, some stuff did release today. We got Road 96, Mile Zero, the prequel to the original one that released a few years back, and Meet Your Maker came out today. That one looked interesting, and it
Meet
was
your
another one that
maker.
until like this week, I assumed was a PlayStation exclusive because I'd never seen it advertised for anything but PlayStation. So I was happy to find out it was multi-platform. I think it's even on PC. I had no idea at first.
I have a video
Um,
for Meet Your Maker coming up here.
nice.
Watch that.
And Star Trek Resurgence, I think, came out a day or two ago. Um, Tomorrow we have Cabaret. On the 6th, we have quite a few games. We got Curse of the Sea Rats, Dashing Orange, Marfusha, and Melon Journey, Bittersweet Memories. We do have a few interesting ones coming up, though. We got the EA Sports PGA Tour, finally making a comeback. I think last year was the first one in a while they'd made. Horror Tale 1 Kidnapper, and The Library of Babel. And that one, I think they showed off at PAX a bit. That one looked kind of interesting. It's it's weird. It's like you go up this tower, of course, the Tower of Babel, on this crazy journey, and there's like a whole city up there. I'm not 100% sure what's going on. I only saw a teaser with some of the patch stuff, but the art style was very interesting. Um, I'll just go to the 15th because we only got a few more, and we're kind of in between the week. The 11th, we got Sherlock Holmes: The Awakened coming. The 12th, after a long, long time, we finally got Ghostwire Tokyo coming. Sorry, were you about to say something?
Uh, no, the Sherlock Holmes one is that. I can't remember the developers. This is developers that like been making them forever.
Yeah, I believe it's them making another new one.
Okay, cool. Because I know a lot of people.
Yeah, I played the first one, I believe, on Game Pass. It was fantastic. I ended up getting the second one. I didn't think I'd even be into it, but they're really cool.
They're a little bit janky. Like
Oh, yeah.
they're not like AAA quality, but they're still really fun. So
Yeah,
highly
but
recommend.
they're also really good quality. Just it feels more like AA quality that is trying to peek its way into AAA, which isn't a bad thing. It had a home movie kind of feeling to it, which I appreciated. We have King of the Arcade coming on the 12th. On the 13th, we have another drop with Vampire Survivors. They're doing the Tides of Foscari, I believe.
Another
Uh,
DLC?
yeah, I don't want to say just because it's been a few months now, but they added a DLC to the game after launch. I
Ooh.
think it was late November, early December.
Okay, there's
And
no video on Ghostwire, but it's only 26 gigs.
oh, what? All of Ghostwire?
Yeah, that's what it's saying here.
Nice. Maybe they found a way to compress it with this new version.
Well, it's got the new
I'm not
update
sure.
too.
Yeah, I know that's why they waited instead of giving it to us like a week ago or something. They're
I'm
like,
more than
nah.
okay. I'm more than okay with that.
Oh yeah. We got two more. We
Oh,
got
Sherlock Holmes: The Awakened. There it is.
basketball pinball on the 14th and De-Exit Eternal Matters. There's some cool stuff coming later in the month. Ooh, I'm very excited for what I just saw coming on the 18th. I'm gonna have to look into this immediately.
Which one's that one?
This is Puzzle Quest free.
Oh, finally.
I
When's the
love
last time
Puzzle
we got a
Quest.
Puzzle Quest game?
It's been a while. Uh,
The Beach Seeker.
Let me double check when the first two came out. 'Cause the first one was a while back. Yeah, oh
First one
07.
was the first one was like a DS game, if I remember
Yeah.
correctly. So I don't want to just oust people, but yeah, it's old. We're old guys. I can't
I'm
help it.
not old. I'm gonna be 29 in 4 days. I'm not old.
Yeah, you're not 30 yet.
Uh,
You're okay.
exactly. I'm not a wizard yet.
I,
Yet.
I'm not getting the epic beard, so it's fine.
Let's see.
Mm.
Community update 2.0, blah blah blah. This one's rated E10 plus. Wow.
Right, full start of next month, so whatever. We haven't gotten
Yes.
that far yet. Oh yeah, Coffee
Still very
Ties
excited.
2's coming. When's that
So the
one? That's
first, oh yeah, I'm very excited for
20th.
that.
Sorry, I skipped
Um,
ahead. I'm just looking here. The Mage
yeah, no
Seeker
worries.
also looks like it's the 18th.
Oh, that's
The
why I
League
didn't
of
recognize
Legends
the
thing.
company. They changed their name. Yes, there's a lot of cool stuff coming this month, actually. We even got that Minecraft thing coming, like a week and a half.
Legends. Is it a week and a?
Legends. I think it's the
It's only 7
12th or
gigs.
14th.
It's only
Yeah,
7 gigs. I have to
Vox
give.
voxel games tend to be decently smaller or voxel based. Although I don't know if it is voxel based now that I think about it. It might just be the art style is similar.
Yeah.
I don't know enough about this one. It looks interesting though.
It looked like it was some sort of like real time strategy one.
Yeah,
I'm not really into Minecraft, but I had enough fun with Legends, just playing with people that were playing it. Not
what do you mean
Legends,
dungeons?
Dungeons. Sorry,
Okay.
I was
No,
thinking
no
of
worries. I was
this
just
one.
making sure.
Like, I realized I said it wrong.
Dungeons was a lot of fun. It was just Diablo craft, and it was a nice filler while waiting for more Diablo. I enjoyed my time with that one. Puzzle Quest is a weird one. We have uh, the original Puzzle Quest, the Challenge for the Warlords, back in like 2007. 2009 was the Galactrix one, which I didn't like as much. It was like diagonal too, so it was like eh.
I
Puzzle
know there was a
Quest
long
2.
time two
Oh,
and
go on.
one. 2 and 1 was like a
Yeah.
long way apart.
Well, those weren't too bad. 2 was in like 2010. And then 3 years later was the Marvel version. 2 more years Adventure Time and Magic the Gathering. Another 4 years up to 2019, Puzzle Quest: The Legend Returns. That was the remake of the first one. I got that on Switch. That was great. Now, 10 years after the last version, 13 years after the last version, we're not in 2020, it's Puzzle Quest free. The reason I thought that is because it was right under 2020 instead of 2023. It was mislabeled.
Yes, it looked
Um,
like the regular Minecraft engine. This looks like Unreal or something.
yeah, I think they did change it up.
Well, the thing is that the
Uh,
Minecraft engine is great for what it is, but I
yeah,
think when you're doing
it,
like even it might be Unreal. Or it's probably Unreal because Dungeons was on Unreal. Yeah, interesting game.
yeah,
Interesting.
it's the same with Rise looking interesting on the Resident Evil engine. It's like I don't know if it's gonna be great to stick with this one, but this engine's really good for like other games. It's great with the Resident Evil ones. I don't know if they're gonna want to use it for everything though. They seem to be though. Yeah, the Galactic one was also on the original DS. Uh, Same with Puzzle Quest 2. I guess the 3DS wasn't out yet. That's crazy.
It was backwards compatible, so
Oh yeah, I enjoyed that about the DS,
the thing about
DSi,
the
3DS.
3DS, the 3DS came out, it was too expensive.
Yep. It almost flopped at first because of that, and then it sold a gazillion bajillion.
Well, they've reduced the price.
Yeah, I just mean in general, like even the new 3DS, which was kind of a terrible gimmick. I got it because I liked the nipple control sticks, so I finally had a right thumbstick, and I had used laptops enough that I didn't care that it was a nipple, even though I would have preferred a control stick. But there were only like 3 or 4 games released in America that needed the new part, so you didn't really need to get
I
one.
think there were more in Japan, but I couldn't hard to tell you. The new
Yeah,
3DS, I didn't get a new 3DS because I didn't really want to. The thing is, playing Monster Hunter on the DS was not my favorite, especially since I got to play. I think it was 3 on. Was it
Wii
3 or was
U.
it? You have Wii U, 3
I
Ultimate.
think it was free Ultimate. Yeah,
Yeah, it's because 4. I have 4, but I played it a bit. It wasn't. It was passable without the because you use the D pad.
yeah.
Go back to the
I
Monster Hunter claw like on the Vita. Or not Vita, the
yeah.
PSP.
I
Vita
knew
had two
exactly what you
sticks.
meant. Yeah. Um, I didn't mind it on the 3DS, but um, that's also because I played with like a group of friends and I had that thing all the time, so I was always on it. Especially the new 3DS had the nice big screen, so I actually appreciated that. The downside is they don't do anything with it anymore. It's a shame. I have it sitting in the corner of my room, just hanging out there. There's probably plenty of games I haven't finished or that I could play on there, but I don't know. It's just without the store, without most of the online features, it feels so empty. And it's a shame. There
Yeah.
are a lot of cool ones. I miss Street Pass. I miss the Miiverse. There was nothing better than playing Wind Waker, throwing a bottle out into the ocean with a stupid smiley face on it and knowing someone would find it, picking up a bottle and someone just wrote poop with a picture of like a dead animal next to it. And I was like, thank you. I needed that. And I just keep it for the rest of the journey. Miiverse was fun. Even Mario Maker, like leaving those little pictures and messages. I mean, Splatoon still does it on Switch, but just because of the way it does it, it's not Miiverse. But you can just leave messages for people and drawings.
Miiverse
That
was
was always one of
fun.
the, yeah,
I
it
I
was
loved going
unique.
through the Miiverse, and I loved seeing all the like art people would do in Splatoon.
Yeah,
The thing is, people would just
and
put like drip up drawings, and you'd get like the best stuff.
oh
That's where
yeah,
we got memes like "Pick a God and Spray."
yeah.
Like
There
all
was
the
also,
anime memes for Splatoon were amazing, like
oh
so
god,
good.
yeah. Do you remember Flipnote and then later Flipnote Hatana?
I never played Flipnote, but I've seen a bunch of stuff people have done of Flipnote, and
So
there's
that
some
released at the
awesome.
perfect time. Like memes were starting to get big. Uh, Animation was getting more popular, but not enough people knew about it. So they were going to this, where animation was really easy to make, and recreating memes, creating them themselves, things that would later become YouTube videos, stick fight animations, jokes in their entirety. It was huge, and it took over the internet for a while. And there's still jokes today that I'll see, and I'm reminded that it came from this, and I'll remember somewhere in the back of my head where this memory is stored the black and white version of this with the flip notes and then seeing how it looks today with people drawing it, realistically and better today. It's just crazy how much came from there. And it was a great time. People were creative and supporting each other and having fun with it. Uh, there was just so much coming from it at once, of all different types of animations, jokes, parodies, just cool action scenes. I miss it.
Have you
It was
seen the
sweet.
Magical Girl Eevee transformation one? I've seen Flipnote
Which one? There's a few
where
like that.
Eevee transforms into a Sylveon, but it's like a
Yes.
Magical Girl transformation.
Yeah, like the Sailor Moon style, the classic ones.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
fantastic, absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, I think the idea that you can create something super creative like that was so much fun because you had people who were very talented making these things, but then you had people like me who would just go there, not as talented at making the stuff, but super excited to just look around at all the cool stuff people were making and explore all the different
But it's not like
types
Art
of things.
Studio was another game that they had, right? Like
Yeah, there was a Pokemon one I ended up picking up because I wanted to draw better. It was fun. There was like a spring one, like the art academies and stuff.
yeah,
Um,
Art Academies are nothing new for Nintendo. They've had them since forever.
yeah, they've been class, especially because they have all the unique ways to play them, whether you're drawing with a Wii mode or something, or you're using the touch screen and a stylus. Which, by the
Super
way, I wish the
Nintendo,
Switch had.
Mario
Super.
Paint.
That's true. Mario Paint was so many things at once
It
because
was.
oh,
They're supposed
it
to color a
it was a
dinosaur,
game.
which is
Yeah,
awful. Like the thing is, these games existed, but
yeah. They especially today, unfortunately, they would get shot down even harder than they did because where's my plot? Where's my gameplay? This isn't a real game. Real fans
uh,
don't play this.
oh my god, Nintendo stands and Sony stand. I get really annoyed with the a game can be gameplay first and be fine. There's some games
Yeah,
that it matters more that the story is good.
yeah. There's definitely
Like the
story-driven games and
upcoming
then gameplay focus.
have you did you do what I did when you heard the features they were adding to Star Wars Jedi Survivor? And the
I
first
was
thing I thought of,
frustrated.
I read it and I'm like, the first thing I thought of was like, is this Jedi like a dragon?
I
Like,
was
is that what
frustrated by
this
some of
is?
the stuff though, because they were like, all the upgrades you get, in these kind of games, you usually lose them in the beginning, or you trip and fall, and they all, fall out. Well, not this one. You're not playing Metroid. You're not playing those games. You get all your abilities from the last ones, and you're stronger. And it's like, all right, but then what the hell's the progression? Like, don't
Yeah,
get
but
me
there's,
wrong.
there's eight
I
stances and there's like blaster combat. So I'm like,
Yeah,
is this like a Jedi issue? I literally
yeah.
thought that. I'm like reading it, but then there's like weird side events. I've no doubts the game's gonna be good,
Oh yeah.
but
But it's definitely a weird take to do it this way, though. I'm not saying it's bad yet. It's very different.
it is very different. I'll probably go wait for a sale like I did for Dead Space.
Oh
With Dead
yeah.
Space, I had $20 in store credit that I used, so it's not quite a discount, but it is.
I mean, depends how you look at it. It's kind of a discount.
Yeah, it's a store discount. It is what it is. It's fine. But that's probably what I'm gonna do with Jedi Survivor is hope for a sale or cash in some store credit on it again.
Yeah.
So I want to play it. I really
Oh,
like the
definitely.
first one. I do agree with my brother when he's like, it's not the greatest game that ever existed, but there was such a low bar for it to be like a great
Yeah.
game because of what came before it. Because everyone was like, "Oh, great." It had the same problems that Guardians of the Galaxy did. But the game that came before it was a microtransaction riddled landmine.
Yeah, Battlefront 2. Yeah. But yeah, it was especially because of the way it played. No one was prepared for a Star Wars Souls-like, and then it came out of nowhere, and everyone was like, "This
It
works."
makes it makes sense. It literally
Yeah.
makes sense. I don't understand why it would never have made sense. Uh,
Yeah. Well, there's a lot of games like that we've actually talked about. Even Metroid Prime, like last time. It would make sense for so many games to, work like that, especially with the stories they have, and no
yeah,
one's attempted it. Why?
no, I don't know why. No,
Doesn't make any sense.
I also think it's crazy that like Star Wars had two. No, you're the Revenge of the Air Conditioner.
Oh, ew.
There we go.
Is that better?
Yeah, the two. There were two. Uh, sorry, there were two Star Wars RPGs that existed, and then we didn't have one for like 20 years. And then the new one's gonna be a remake of the old one, and it's like, well, look, you guys knew that this was a good idea 20 years ago. Why isn't that? What? No,
Yeah.
stop. Maybe it's not 20
We
years,
made.
but
Yeah, no, I know what you mean. We made a lot of money and everyone liked it. So let's put it on the side and revisit it with our children's children. Nobody touch it yet.
it's not ready for prime time yet. It's
Yeah,
gotta
we
it's gotta
only made
marinate.
all the money and only everyone liked it. But that's not enough. So we'll
Not
come
enough.
back in a few years.
And then you make an MMO, and no one likes the MMO, and you have to make it free to play. Like, don't get me wrong. I think it's like uh the Old Republic is fine for what it is,
Hmm.
but KOTOR 3 it is not.
Yeah. It's a different kind of okay.
Yeah, it was one of those games that I'm just like, is it really? Does it really need to exist? No. Oh, wait, the Xbox One version of Hogwarts Legacy is out on
Oh, that's right, because it got delayed.
the
Is that the
5th.
20th or the
No,
5th?
it's the 5th of May.
Oh, May. Okay.
I know. I just saw it here, and I was like, what? Hogwarts Legacy already came out, and I'm like, oh yeah, the last gen version. We finally get to see how weird the Switch version is.
I mean, unfortunately, it's going to be awful. We all
Oh,
know it.
I no, I no. I want to know how different it is. I love seeing these compromised
Oh, yeah.
ports, just because I love to see what they do with it. I don't
Oh,
think
yeah.
it's
It's
gonna have the.
fascinating.
I think they're gonna either maybe I've seen people make the joke about the cartoony esque art style that they probably do, but no. But yeah, so are you picking up Jedi Survivor right at the hop or no?
Uh, Vampire Survivor I am because it's on
No,
Game
Vampire
Pass,
Survivor,
so it's gonna have
Jedi
that.
Survivor,
Oh, Jedi Survivor.
Star
Uh,
Wars.
that that I'll probably wait on a bit, even though it'll be a bit on sale because it's EA Play and all that. It's probably only a bit like $5 off, so I'm probably gonna wait for a bit of a bigger dip. Um, for now at least, just because I've got a lot on the plate already. I don't want to spend $70 just to add more. But I'm looking forward to it, and I'm definitely going to enjoy it.
Physical.
But you own an Xbox. Why would you even want a physical on an
My God. I guess we
Xbox?
should talk about that because that's driving me nuts.
That's
So
true.
Ghostwire Tokyo at the moment does not have a physical for Xbox.
As far as we know, at least. They're not
I've
telling
checked
us.
I've checked stores as of right now, and none of them have it listed.
Yeah.
You would assume.
Apparently, in Europe, they don't even have it listed like digitally. Like if we look on Amazon here, we're seeing Xbox versions, but if you look in Europe, it's only the PlayStation version. They're literally not talking about the Xbox One, and you can't pre-order it or anything.
Minecraft Legends we talked about in some regions does not have an Xbox version at all. I think Japan was one, which is dumb. It's dumb.
But
Don't do
but
that.
they own it. It's a first party.
I know it's absolute dumb. Like I get that they're trying to like push Game Pass or whatever, but at least have some physicals out there.
Yeah.
That's the thing. I was talking with was it Karen? Because they put up a picture of it's only lost here because it's like 1 million likes on the weekend. My Twitter's crazy. I think it was Karen. They're Japanese Twitter. They're the one that have the ridiculously impressive Xbox collection. I don't know if you've seen this video game collection. It's absolutely insane.
No, what is it?
The stacked one. I like his tweets all the time. Let me get his handle. Karen. Yeah, there you are. Uh, why is it unliked? Oh, you updated again? No, it's from 2022. It keeps unliking my tweets that I like. Copies linked. Okay, here you go. Behold this.
Hold this dub or this L? Which one? Oh, that's awesome. Why there's so many? There's so many in the back I wasn't expecting. It's like, here's free Xboxes. Just kidding. Here's a black one too. How
There's
many PS4s?
five five Xbox 360s there.
What? Oh, no, wait, there's 6.
No, there is six. You're right. There's an arcade one too.
Yeah, I didn't even notice the tinier black ones next to it were
Yeah, he's got the
360s. I
E.
had to
Well,
zoom
yep,
in.
yep. Look at the next. Look at the next picture though.
Oh, wait, let me zoom out. Oh, God, this is looking like my collection, where it's just up to the size of a human and multiple rows. Ooh, they even got like
Yeah,
Code 18 and
yeah.
big double cases. And on the next one,
Karen. Their handle is Karen 19970919.
I love next to the Switch games, it's just like, and here's some anime titties. Carry on. It's the only one there.
I can't
Oh,
actually read what that is, but
yeah, I tried zooming in. I'm like, I don't understand what this is
they
from
also
this
have a
blur.
bunch of. There's Dreamcast games there too. Second row's Dreamcast
Yeah, there's
from the other
crazy.
side.
There's some GameCube,
GameCube, yeah, because GameCube had
ODS.
different cases in Japan.
Did they? Let me look. Oh
Yep,
yeah,
they're in the middle.
yeah. Underneath
DS,
those
3DS. It's
thin white ones.
I think that's PlayStation. No, is that Saturn? I think that's
Which
Sega
one?
Saturn. I think it's Sega Saturn
Far right?
Dreamcast. Yeah, it's Sega Saturn
I believe
Dreamcast,
so.
DS,
Because
3DS,
I
GameCube,
recognized
Wii.
Resident Evil on top.
It's Biohazard. Code
Well, I
Veronica.
know it there is Biohazard, but I'm saying like I hate that just this blurry picture sideways, and I'm like, I know exactly what that is, especially with that font.
The
It's
other one might be
crazy.
Biohazard, also on the Saturn, which also had a port. So few
Oh,
EU games, but
oh
this is
yeah.
from 2022. They update all the time with new stuff, so it's probably like the thread's probably huge, full of like, nope.
I'll follow them now. This is cool. They got a lot of good stuff.
Oh man, you get to see all sorts of cool stuff. Yeah,
I
if you scroll up on the thread, it's actually they've posted the newest one on the threads linked. But if you scroll back, you can see like the collection growing
oh
slowly.
God, yeah. Goes all the way back to like what 2018?
Yeah, 2018 is looks like mobile stuff, but that's fine.
Yeah. Look how young they were, so innocent. One, two, three, four, five, six, seven, eight Xboxes. And then, oh, how time passes and the collection
Wow,
grows.
so tall. Yeah, Karen's really cool. You don't even need to. They do really only understand Japanese though, so if you're gonna
Hmm.
say something to them, make sure that you run it through Translate twice to make sure you're not saying something that's gonna be misinterpreted.
Are you sure I don't want to just misspeak and say something very offensive incorrectly to someone? That's crazy. I do love that at the top they're like, yeah, I mainly play Xbox, PlayStation, Switch, and PC, and I'm just kind of sitting here like, you just say all the things. You play all the things. You gotta spell it out. It's just funny to me. I like that they have the little Xbox JP in their thing too. They're like, I play everything, but represent.
Yeah,
They they got all the platforms and they got like sponsors on there and stuff. Dolby Vision, DTS,
I
Life's
think it's just
Good.
stuff that they have on
Yeah.
the
I'm not familiar with Denon and Okio. I'm
Denon
sure
and
those are
Okio do
local.
audio equipment.
Oh, okay. Are they Japan based?
Uh, Okio is for sure. Denon I thought was North American. Now
It
it's a
could be. I've
collector's
never
item.
heard of that one.
Battleborn's a collector's item. But anyway, I got sidetracked. But they were
Unfortunately, it is.
talking about Sekiro.
Yo.
The Japanese version of Sekiro apparently only has 5,000 copies that
I
exist.
on Xbox
Yes, yes, an
or
Xbox
in
One.
general?
There's only five
Oh.
thousand copies. I, because they mentioned it to me, and I'm like, oh, it's like Legend says there's only 5,000 of them in existence.
Do you have one yourself?
No, I don't have a copy of the Japanese one.
Yeah, I only have the
Yeah, rumor
American
has
one.
it there's
It's a
only
great game.
5,000 copies of the Japanese version. That's what Karen said to me. They replied to me in English. I just put the
That's
god.
crazy. Oh, the Idolmaster Platinum Collection one.
You gonna look at all the Galgun.
Yeah, I'm just scrolling through looking at stuff, and I pass that. I'm like, oh, I remember that. Darkness had a crazy cover in Japan.
Yeah, I love looking at the alternate covers.
Oh, yeah.
Honestly,
One
guys,
of my
if you
favorite things is the
this,
art.
yeah, things you miss out on with digital is the crazy regional cover differences. I love seeing the cover differences.
Plus, I mean, they do it less these days in general, but the little manuals, it used to be like little art in there, cute hints and tips and jokes. That was like, you'd get a game, and then you'd open it immediately, even though you couldn't play it yet, and you'd read the manual on the way home because it was like preparing you for the game, and you're like, oh, I'm excited, I gotta see all the things. I
But
miss that stuff.
I'm
So
so mad about
cute.
I'm so mad about Tunic. I'm so mad about Tunic.
Yeah, there's so many games that it's like this worked with Xbox, or even this was made by Xbox. Everyone gets a physical but Xbox, and it's like, who is at fault here? Who do I yell at? Because this is stupid. They even
No,
lowered the thing for indie devs, so that's good. But like, you're failing if it's your own company and you can't even get the physicals. Who else do you blame at that point? Come on.
I mean you don't just want to. I don't care if you only make 10,000 copies. How many are actually going to sell per region? Just have
Yeah,
them exist.
exactly. Let them get out there in the ether. You will be surprised. You can at least sell that many. I guarantee it.
Even if you just take pre-orders for it. Yeah, it's crazy to think like I have these sealed 360 games in my hand. Metal Gear Solid HD Collection, Darkness 2, and Persona 4 Arena. But it's like I don't want to open them because they're like probably 20 years old. Let's see.
Yeah, and on one hand, they're probably worth a decent amount for some collectors, but on the other hand, you're like, I like these, they're mine.
The thing is,
I,
I went into Microplay, which is a local store here, sells games, do old and used, and they had a copy of the Darkness too, right?
Mhm.
And I brought the case up to the counter. That's where I got my copy of Space Marine from. So I brought the games up to the counter, and they pumped over with a sealed physical. It was like $5. I guess they couldn't get rid of them or something. They just still have them from back then or whatever. And I'm just like, $5? Like I don't care how good. Like I don't think the game is. The Darkness games are weird, but also like really cool at the same time.
yeah,
And it kind of sucks.
like
We've
their
never seen
plot
it.
wasn't great, but it was still fun.
I think they deviated too far from the comic books.
Yeah.
That's probably the problem.
In fact,
Okay.
they deviated enough that most people don't know it's based on comic books.
Yeah.
You know what I really hope Activision brings back after the ABK? I mean, there's a million things, but Prototype. Obviously, even mini companies would be great to come back that could make more games and Vicarious Visions. But yeah, Tony Hawk, Guitar Hero, all that good stuff. But I want some Prototype. Gib,
I think Prototype would
GIB.
be interesting. Is Prototype like
Yeah.
is Prototype backwards compatible? I have it open. I can check.
My answer is maybe. I know two can be played, and know there's the one remake. I don't remember if the 360 one can be played.
Prototype Fire Hazard Bundle. Oh, there's just the remasters. So
Hmm.
361 can't be, but these look kind of 360-esque, to be honest.
Yeah. Yeah,
And these
Prototype was the kind of
screenshots.
game like where Infamous came out, and those were the hype back then. And then people kind of
Infamous
forgot
was
them.
Infamous was I don't like Infamous. I got it for free when the Sony hack happened.
I
And I
remember.
remember the one part I was there when the walls fell.
Same.
But uh
Uh,
but I remember when I remember playing it and be like, this game's fine. Like superhero games hadn't been done to death at that point.
yeah.
Like they kind of I don't think they have been done to death at this point, but they're much more common now than they were then. Like
Yeah.
especially ones that weren't attached to a known IP.
Yeah, Infamous is weird for me because it is a cool idea. It just doesn't do much with it. I
No,
played.
Infamous doesn't work because you have the illusion of choice,
Yeah.
and that's the whole game is like, well, you gotta do this one thing, or you gotta do this. It's like you be the good guy or the bad guy. So there's an infamous choice in the game where the bad guy has captured your girlfriend and a bunch of
Oh no.
nurses, and you have to choose between the nurse or your girlfriend.
Uh huh.
And no matter what you pick, your girlfriend dies. So if you pick just the one, it's a random nurse. If you pick the group, it's she's in with the group. You cannot win this situation. It's zero win to like be a little bit selfish and take like this dude's pick this dude's girlfriend.
Yeah. And like I get it in some games where they're like, this would move the plot forward, so we got to do it. Cool. Then don't make that the choice. If it's got to happen one way, you can fix this by just not making that one of the choices. Make the choices count in other areas. Um, I remember on PS Now, when I had it, when it was really laggy and streamy and kicked you off for other people to get on, I played Infamous's DLC on there, the Halloween one. I think it was Infamous 2, where it's
I
like
didn't play Infamous 2. I played Second Son.
I did play that too. I got that with my
Second Son
console.
was Second Son was decent,
Yeah,
but
it
it
had
also has the same
potential.
problem of it ends too early
Yep.
and the illusion of
Uh,
choice. Is the illusion of choice just an infamous like staple?
I don't think it was supposed to be, but it became one.
Oh, we ran out of dev time. Illusion of choice time.
They said that on day 2 of programming the game.
Like the thing is, and that's the thing. If you're gonna make another game like Prototype, or you're gonna make a game with a morality system, make the morality system actually matter.
Exactly. You can't like that's one of those systems where you can't just toss it in and pretend to give a shit.
Yeah.
Rockstar games and Fallout games are great examples of how to do them right. They're interesting. They affect the
Well,
world. They don't have to
Fallout.
be big choices.
I think Fallout's morality system is more like just how people perceive you, but you can still do evil things like steal people's stuff, and there's no repercussions
Well, it
as long as
does
you don't get
lower.
caught.
Well, yeah,
Only if you get
that's
caught.
true. True, or like a chicken sees you from a mile away, then he might snitch.
You
But you're
murder
right.
someone. Yeah, but you can always just counteract the negative karma of being a murderer by doing something else.
Exactly. Like for instance, if you donate some bottle caps to the church, and then steal the bottle caps out of the pocket of the guy you gave them to, that's like one bad deed versus like 10 if you gave them separately to him. I gotta think I'm a good guy, a 10-to-1 ratio. The one bad thing I did was nuke a city filled with nothing but women and children, but I gave like 12 nickels to a homeless man on like 2 different days.
Hmm. Yeah, and
So
that,
like
that
it,
that
it evens
counteracts
out.
all that negative karma for
Yeah.
for nuking the place and
Yeah,
killing all the
it's the
people.
Resident Evil 5 inventory system of karma. Everything's 1-to-1. In the inventory system, if I'm holding an egg or if I'm holding a heavy machine gun with a backpack attached, they take up the same amount of space. It's the same with the morality. I can nuke children, or I can trip and accidentally spill some dirty stuff on a woman's dress. Those are just as evil as each other.
Just as evil. Yep. Perfectly evil. Speaking of Resident Evil, let's talk some Resident Evil 4 spoilers. I know you haven't finished Resident Evil 4 yet.
Yeah, I'm on chapter 13 of 16. I just started the island, which looks like
Yeah.
Midgard, which is hilarious. Only because this is the closest to Midgard on an Xbox I'll get, besides
No,
cleaning
man.
up Midgard.
Cleaning up Midgar. You
Yeah,
could play the old game. It's still
I
there.
mostly mean the new game. I'm glad I can play the old game. Don't get me wrong. I'm just
Anyway, let's not get salty. Let's get salty. Let's
yeah,
not get
yeah. You're
salty.
right. You're right.
So far, you've had some issues with story-wise things you felt about the
Hmm.
game.
I don't want to say it's story-wise completely. I don't like how they've changed some of the characters, and while I'll agree with what your assessment was that the game felt like the original, I should say, felt like a hodgepodge of ideas story-wise, it didn't exactly mesh together. I still appreciated some of the characters for what they did in that one, whereas with this one, it feels more like they forgot to write stories for certain characters, and then they just kind of left parts blank, which you then fill in with the original, but then it doesn't make sense for what they write next. I was also frustrated with some of the censorship, not just the stuff with Ashley, but in general, it feels like they tried to tone down and change a lot of characters for quote unquote modern audiences. Whether it's some of the pervy stuff Lewis did, whether it's to make things easier for the casual gamer playing by changing a character's name, the way he looks, the way he acts.
You can
You
just
could
you can
just make
just
a
you
new
can just drop
character.
it. You can literally just drop it. Drop the names. We're in spoiler territory here.
Oh yeah.
You can just say
Uh,
what upsets you.
so Salazar, or as he's known in this game, Ramon, feels like a completely different character. In the original, he hijacks your walkie-talkie. I almost said cell phone because it's a picture, but your magic walkie-talkie from the future that shows faces. Um, he used to shit talk you. He would taunt you and tease you. He felt like a
He still
big evil
taunts you.
character.
He just does it through the intercom, the like
Yeah, but he only does
adequated
that once,
intercom.
even.
No, he
Like
does it a
when
few
he
times. Yes,
does he? I thought he
Mr.
only did it once when
Kennedy,
you're walking towards his
Signor
castle.
Kennedy.
Yeah, when you're walking to get in and you fight the two
Look
X-Men
again,
boys.
yo, Senor Kennedy. Oh my god. You miss out. You guys miss out playing in English. I'm telling you. Just
When he's Japanese Spanish.
yes, it's just too good. It's too Look
Now
again,
he's
yo.
speaking in two languages I don't fully understand. This
Dude,
monster.
it's the real monster. The real monster.
It's a language barrier. Yeah,
Oh,
I still like the character, but he didn't feel as imposing. He didn't feel as important. Um, he felt like he
none of
kept
these
running
characters are
away in every
important
scene.
in the canon of Resident Evil. Not even in the game. Even Krauser's
Oh
just
well,
like a
yeah.
dude.
I mean
Krauser,
that's
but
every
Krauser,
Resident Evil game.
but Krauser also had the same amount of like um impact in the original, where he's just like there and then he's gone.
Well, that was the funniest part. The game that had him exist didn't exist yet. It was being made alongside it, and then later released with like Dark Side Chronicles and stuff. So no one knew who the hell this guy was. But they didn't play it off like you don't know it's a mystery character. They played it off like Leon should know who it is, and you, the player, should totally understand what's going on. You
Yeah,
don't.
they
No one's
fixed
ever talked about this guy.
they fixed that a bit in the intro where they showed Krauser at least, and
Yeah,
he taught me the knife skills, and then they talked like they were like they were.
sort of. I mean, he talks to Krauser like at first, at least, like, "Oh, Major, like you're my superior," and then halfway through the fight, he's like, "You're an asshole. Fuck you." But the whole time, Krauser was like, "You suck, rookie. I expected better from you. You're not worth the dirt on my shoe." And it's like, are you still a drill sergeant, like yelling at me? Like, what's going on? What was our relationship? You keep talking down to me. You're mean.
Brokeback
Also, you
Mountain.
threw a knife at my friend's back like 4 seconds ago and
He
literally backstabbed him.
he was the guy on the bottom.
Are you saying he is a bottom sexually, or are you saying he was the guy on the bottom?
He was the guy on the bottom.
Just making sure. Both answers are acceptable. Uh,
Anything is acceptable. I'm
yeah,
just I'm just making a joke for the sake of a joke because it was just the whole fight scene is kind of like what like the first
I was.
time where the CGI fight scene would have
Mhm.
been. It's way better. It's honestly 100% better. I think
What, the new one or the old one?
the new knife. Like, I
Mhm.
honestly feel like they were like, this is the part of the game that is going to age the worst, and they started from that point and figured out the like melee mechanics first. You think you laugh, but I think it's how they did it.
I wouldn't be surprised if that was a focus,
Well,
but
I feel like because the thing is, if you're gonna have I knew that that was gonna be one of the contentious issues in the game because it was all QTEs. It was really cool at the time because it looked really cool,
yeah,
but it was not a
it just didn't age well.
it didn't age well at all. Like it wasn't going to be good. You can't just do it and be like, oh, it's gonna be great again, because
What
it's
they could
not.
have done though is just put it in a cutscene instead of removing it
You,
entirely.
you could
By
have, but they
making it,
didn't. They made it
yeah, by
like
making it a boss fight, it was rough only because now there's a bunch of things that aren't explained. For starters, can't you use any of your guns? Nothing got knocked away. This isn't a
no,
respect
it's
thing
a mono
because
on
you're.
mono fight. It's a mono a
But
mono
they
fight.
don't exactly establish that. And after you guys
Oh
talk and he gets mad at you,
come on, man, come on. It's a
you really
mono a mono
think.
fight.
See, that would have made sense in the original when you're alone. But you were here with Lewis, and he just got killed by this guy. You're not going to show him any respect, even if he was your former officer. He just killed the guy who was supposed to save you in front of you. I think at that point you pull the gun on him.
Nah,
He also
man.
has superpowers, bro. He jumped up like 30 meters after coming out of the ceiling in a cave and throwing a knife deadly accurate across the entire room, and then he left by doing a super jump. What is Leon thinking? That something's wrong with this dude.
Nah, I
He
gotta
also
fight
got
him with my
stabbed a
knife.
million times. Yeah. And that's what I mean. I'm not saying they needed to
Resident
do
Evil
it the
4
old
was
way.
dumb. Resident Evil 4
Yeah.
was dumb. It was always dumb. It's never not gonna be dumb. You can't.
But that's the thing. They took it too seriously. It's okay that it was dumb, but they tried to show it to us like it's realistic and gritty now. It's like, but it's not. It's still dumb.
No, it's
And
still
that's
dumb. It was
okay.
always dumb. It'll never not be dumb. Resident
Yeah.
Evil 4 will never not be dumb. You can
And
come
that's
at me for
fine.
whatever.
I
Resident Evil
love Resident Evil 4 and its dumbness. It's
Resident Evil
great.
7 also had the fantastic um, DLC for
Which one,
the
the
end of
Zoe?
Zoe, the end of Zoe,
Yeah.
where you got the Thor glove. If they remake 5, they have to give Chris that glove.
I would love if he also gets the minigun in the remake. And I say that mostly because even Resident Evil 4, I think it only has like 2 or 3 post-game weapons that you can unlock. It feels like the games didn't focus as much on the gunplay as the original, which is fine. It's serviceable, but there were funny ways that you could do things in the original that I feel like you can't quite do as well this time. The one thing I will complain about is the movement and evade system. I'm not huge on the B evade being contextual because while I get it, you shouldn't have an iframe move that you can use whenever you want. There are times when an enemy's attacking you and you don't have a contextual dodge and you get hit, or there's times where you do have it, but you don't know if you're gonna or not, so you try to run away and then you get hit. And then there's times when the contextual dodge happens, but you still get hit anyway. Um, so that's rough. And the movement system in general, I had the most deaths on my hardcore run I'm on in the second area. Not to any bosses. Ironically, I've beaten every boss on the first try. The dynamite guys. Whether I was locked into an animation kicking someone and they threw it at me and I blew up and died in one hit.
Yeah, not having iframes in the melees was a little dumb.
Yeah, like I get you want to be realistic in some ways, but if I can't cancel the animation at any point, don't, make me able to get hit. Give me the iframes. I'm gonna get hurt.
You need to be invulnerable during motions like that.
Yeah, because if it takes away control of the character, I don't want any of the repercussions that come with whatever they're doing
Yeah,
because I'm not in control. I can't, protect myself. And
especially since to trigger it, the melee is like you have to go out of your way to get close to do it.
yeah, especially too because you know,
You
when
also
you're
don't
doing
know
that,
which melee is going to do. You could do like a jump
exactly.
kick, or you could do the roundhouse kick that'll hit more than one person, or you could
Yeah.
somehow do the suplex, depending on
Well, that's the other thing.
orientation.
Yeah, sometimes I'd be behind him and he'd throw the kick, and I'm like, well, that's fine, but
I think I
maybe
only
I was
did the
trying to throw him
suplex.
off the edge.
I think I only did the suplex once.
It keeps telling you about it too, because it clearly wants you to try it. It's like, by the way, if you get behind someone, you can throw them.
I
Here's
ended up just
another
blowing
thing.
off people's legs instead of.
Oh yeah,
But
I
by the time I
mean,
hit the castle, it was just like double red 9 shots in the leg. They're on the ground and they just die. I'm like, okay.
on hardcore, I wish it was that easy. For me, it was shoot them in the leg until they start to fall, spin kick them, and then knife them before they all parasite, because they would always do that. But by the time I got to halfway through the castle and I'd fully upgraded the Sentinel 9, I would always go for the head because besides doing decent damage, reload, all that stuff, it has 5 times critical hit chance. So I'd shoot them in the head and they would either explode and die, or they would go, oh, and start to fall over like they got hit by something really hard. And then I'd kick them in the face. The shield guys became my biggest problem just because the pistols don't, destroy the shields as well as anything else, even though
The
the
red
enemies
9
themselves
does.
would die
It
quicker.
blows right through it.
See, it shouldn't, and I only say that because looking at the penetration, my weapon has higher than the red 9.
The
So it
red 9 goes through it.
should. Yeah,
It blows holes in that shield like no one's biz.
yeah, and
But
same with the Punisher, goes through more enemies than uh,
yeah,
some of
it
my
goes
weapons with
right through
higher
the shield.
penetration.
But
Even though it has lower penetration, so I don't know what they're doing with the stats. They don't always make sense. Reload speed in general doesn't make sense to give us timers for because the only reload speed that changes for most guns is how many bullets you load in at once, or bolts or slugs.
yeah, that
So
was a weird change because in the original, I think there's only a couple upgrades for some of them. The
yeah,
thing is,
or
with a
reload speed was like how fast you did it, but it was always the same animation. It was
yeah,
never like,
but the new ones are like the shotgun. You can load more than one shell in at a time. Or
yeah, same with the rifle or the bolt thrower. Is it thrower or shooter? I think it's bolt thrower.
I don't like that
Um,
gun at all. I honestly
I've
hate it.
rarely used it. I only use it
It's
when I'm basically out of ammo.
I don't carry it. It's honestly useless. My problem with it is that it one does crappy damage, And
Yeah,
if
its
you use
damage
the
sucks.
mine, you lose the um bolts anyway. And then the other problem with it is when you're supposed to
The
ring the
delayed shot.
no, the delayed shot also, but when you ring the bell with it
Hmm.
in the one spot, there are two bells you could not ring with that gun at all. It just didn't work.
The one thing I liked about the gun, besides the mines I realized were easy to cheese certain enemies, like the two Wolverine boys who stab you, um, I kept struggling for a few tries because I was getting overrun and they were a pain in the ass. I managed to kill everything, and then I got them by sticking a mine to one's back, so the beep would happen and they'd start stabbing each other, and then it would blow them up, and they'd start to get up and look around confused, and I'd do it a few more times because it's silent to shoot. They'd never even look at me or run. They'd just hear the beep, freak out, and start stabbing each other, and then blow up. It took like five of those, and they both died at the same time. Um, so for a few
I was
things
gonna
like that,
say
it was
that was
great.
gonna be the because remember you saying something about yeah I beat the guy and I'm like don't tell him, don't tell him because I'm like I knew that room was gonna be a pain for you.
Especially on hardcore. I mean, I'm sure it's worse on professional, but
I'm
as I'm
not even
playing
gonna
through on
bother doing a
hardcore,
professional mode. I don't even
yeah,
care.
I had the first guy I didn't shoot. I snuck around and I wanted to get the achievement for stabbing. So I snuck around. It took 13 stabs and 3 knives, but I stabbed him to death, and I was like, "Oh man, that was
Did you
hard."
take
And when I
Ashley
got
back down in there?
no, I didn't know you could.
Oh,
What did she say?
because she goes, "What was down there? Right, an animal."
Oh yeah, when he comes back up, I remember he
If you
goes,
take her
"By the way,
down
you
there,
were
there's
right."
another line.
Oh, I just remember him going, "Yeah, you were right, by the way." Animals. What does she say when you go down there? Now I want to know.
Uh, she's like, "That's an animal." Like, no, and you can't keep him.
That's cute. I
I
wish
was like,
they I wish they hinted at a reason to go back down with her. I had
I
made
thought there
sure I
was
got every
treasure. I went
treasures.
to go look for treasure. I was looking for treasure.
Uh, I have the treasure map uh always when I first enter an area and the expanded one, so I count them all to make sure they're all there, and then I go for everything. So far, I've cleared both maps before I left, got everything. I'm the collector guy, so I almost don't leave an area with something behind unless I know I can't get it, because I'm anal about stuff like that.
Yeah,
So,
I understand. I don't blame you.
yeah. So I had no reason to go back down, and since I was injured at the time because I was only stabbing and had no healing, I was like slow limping. So I'm like, I'm just moving forward. There's nothing back there. I'm slowly limping. I don't want to limp down there to check and limp back.
Okay,
So
I
I
gotta go to the
missed out.
bathroom quick. I'm like, I've reached my limit. I'm sorry. I'll be right back. Just
No
entertain
worries.
the people.
Sure. All zero of us. Let's go. Um, I'll quickly address a few more things I liked and didn't like. I love that the characters completely suspend their disbelief for the shooting gallery. It's hilarious to me that you'll go into one, not question how this random dude keeps popping up everywhere, or how he's taken over these entire areas, freed them of zombies, set up a huge shooting gallery, very expensive, animatronic stuff too, voices, guns with unlimited amounts of ammo everywhere. You not only do not question it, your other characters cheer you on and say cute things as if you're at like a carnival, and it's it's so funny just given the circumstances of what's going on. Like, I finished one scene with Ashley, and she was like, "I'm sorry, I tried to stab you." And she's like crying, and then I walked 10 feet away, went to the shooting gallery with her, and she's like, "Let's get the high score this time. Or win me a prize." And it's like, this is cute, and it doesn't make any sense. She was just sobbing. It's just, it was a great distraction, and they were fun for the most part. There were one or two that frustrated me because, like I said before, I'm anal about collectibles and stuff, so I had to get an S on everything. I had to complete every objective on them before I'd leave. And to the game's credit, with one of their newer features, the charms, there's a reason to do all this. You get silver and gold tokens. The silver ones, and this is like a real gotcha because the silver ones are needed. You put free in, you get a prize. The gold ones, the more you use, the more rare the prize, quote unquote, is supposed to be. There are still times I'd use all three and get something worse than the silver. Statistically, that doesn't make sense. But just like real gotchas, statistics are just numbers, and shitty draws are life. So, yeah, of course you're going to get stuff like that. But the charms have good uses. Chances of increasing ammo creation, because you can craft ammo now, which is another great feature. Um, Being able to get more healing out of stuff, selling things for better prices, cheaper things when buying things. Like, my knife repair is 30% off or something like that. Um, with my little Leon with a gun. There's tons of cute little collectible charms, but they also give you abilities, so it's nice. And gotcha. I totally forgot that that would appear on the top right. So when it said that out of nowhere, it said your name next to it. It looked like it was the guy speaking, like the welcome stranger, because it's paused and his face is right next to it.
That's
So
fun.
it was like he's just, I'm back now.
I'm back.
Yeah, I was just going
Oh,
over how I liked the shooting gallery and the charms, and how it was hilarious that not only does no one question the shooting gallery, but they cheer you on and say cute lines if they're with you, which was
yeah.
hilarious.
Did you go with Ashley? And
I went with Lewis and Ashley. It
oh, I
was
didn't know you go with that as with Lewis, but
yeah,
I,
he's actually got some really cute lines. Out of nowhere, he's like, "Oh, nice shooting, cowboy," and the other one you shoot the wrong way, he's like, "Holy shit, don't shoot them." It was just cute to see like the little throwaway lines. Like Ashley's like, "Oh, we're gonna get the high score this time!" Like super excited. Meanwhile, the scene before that, she was crying and apologizing for trying to stab Leon, and then a minute later, she was like, "Oh, win me a big teddy bear." It's like, you know where we are? You know what's
yeah,
going on? Are you good? It was cute. I do like the charm effects too.
yeah, some
To
of them are
see
really cool.
good
I don't have
addition.
anything really great. I think I've got the merchant who makes
What's he
upgrades
do?
cheaper.
Oh, that's nice. The free I stick with are like, well, I have free for combat and then free for marketplace. The free combat are a little handgun one, a little herb, and a little guy with a shield. One of them is 35% chance to make bonus handgun ammo. One of them is herbs heal 15% more. And then the shield guy is 20% more shotgun ammo.
Wasn't there
Or,
the DLC one?
yeah, the herb and the handgun one were. I have lesser versions of them, but there's a higher percentage on the two that came with the DLC. Um, and then for the marketplace, I have like a Lewis I don't use because he gives like 50% more value to guns you sell. Um, but I've looked up and found out if you sell a gun for that entire playthrough on this file, regardless of how many times you restart, you don't get it again. So I have no reason to sell any of them. Um, there's the 30% cheaper knife upgrades with a little Leon with a gun, and I definitely use that. And then there's one that's healing items sell for like 50% more. So I'd use that for hunting fish or snakes sometimes. One of the cool things I found in the castle, that little area next to the courtyard will always have 4 fish in there when you come back. So I would get 4 large bass, uh, keep them for healing because they heal like 60% of your max health bar, maybe 70%. And they were super helpful in hardcore. And if I ever went back to that area and I noticed there were more than I could carry, I'd put the charm on and start selling a few, make a couple thousand bucks off of it. It was free money.
Yeah, I only got the handgun one. Handgun
Uh
ammo bonus frequency.
oh, gotcha.
Uh, I did get one that does 15%. I have 20% more melee crit rate, and then
Ooh,
5%
that
off
sounds good.
weapon upgrades. But I
See,
don't
it
have any
is
of the
funny
good
that,
ones.
but it is interesting. You have ones I haven't run into, and I seem to have ones you were run into. Um,
Yeah, I didn't
there's a lot of them. I think there's like
play it
30 or
much.
40.
It's just 31 here, so I don't know if that includes the
31.
DLC ones or not.
Oh, that's true. I'm not sure. Because there were two. Well, I would hope it wouldn't count it because then you'd be sitting at 29 out of 31 if you didn't have the DLC forever.
Yeah,
That would drive at least me insane, but 100 percenters in general.
yeah. I gotta be
Um,
honest. I don't like any of the submachine guns in this game. They all
I'm the
suck.
same. And I'm so mixed on the AR because it's a
I didn't
great
buy it.
gun. Uh, I ended up getting it because it came with something during one chapter, and I was like, I have a ton of money, I'll just try it. Um, oh no, I didn't buy it. That's right. I found one for free when I was playing as Leon. One of the treasures was the CQR rifle or whatever.
The
That's what it was.
Cobra or whatever.
Yeah, but it's like a little acronym for it. Um, and I wanted to try it because I'm like, oh, the stats are pretty decent. Finally, an SMG that's worth carrying around. It takes normal rifle ammo, but it has like machine gun stats. I mean, good machine gun stats, but not anywhere near rifle. I'm not about to plug all of my expensive and hard to find rifle ammo into this. I tried it out. It's decent for a machine gun. It's good. It's terrible for a rifle. You can even put super scopes on it, which make it very inaccurate at times one, two, and three when you're shooting. Um, it's really hard to shoot just one bullet, so I couldn't even use it as a replacement for my rifle. It is nice that just like a rifle, it's got triple headshot damage, but it starts at like two handgun damage, and the next one goes to like 250, which again, it's not terrible, but it's super expensive to use. I use my basic rifle. I didn't even get the Stingray on this playthrough because mine does like 12 damage in the head. No, 15. Because it's at 5 damage and does 3 times headshot. It does like 15 damage in the head worth of handgun. At least that's how I track it because that's how the original was. 1.0 was equal to one handgun shot. So 15 damage was just 15 handgun shots worth of damage. That's still how I refer to it. I don't know if they've changed it, but
The stats are different. I just have my inventory here.
yeah, I remember the DLC shotgun and pistol are fantastic. I ended up keeping them my entire playthrough, maxed them out. The shotgun has insane damage. It does, after you fully upgrade it, 18. It takes up the least space of any shotgun. It takes up just 5 in a row. Most shotguns are 6 for 2 rows, or 5 for 2 rows, I think. Um, or the first one, which is like a little bit more on top and less on the bottom. Anyway, yeah, it's very small. It can load 4 bullets at once, even though I think its clip total is 6 or 8. So like you only reload one or two. Uh, it shoots decently fast, not as fast as a pistol. I think it's .76 or .80. So it's not slow like a rifle, but it's fast enough to take a couple shots off. The damage is great. It reloads really fast because it only reloads 2 bullets. Uh, what am I forgetting? No, that's everything. Clip size, rate of fire, damage, uh, reload speed. Yeah. Um,
Red Knight, man. I'm all about the Red Knight. Got the stock.
I want to love it because in the original, that was my go-to pistol. It had almost as much penetration as the Punisher. It had insane damage. It was super accurate. It could shoot fast. You couldn't go wrong. And this one starts slow as shit in molasses. Its damage isn't even much better, even with the max upgrade. The ammo's less, and the worst part for me, it doesn't have a laser sight. The pistol I'm using right now has the same damage as the Red 9, but a 5 times crit chance, 30 plus ammo, the fastest reload of any pistol, uh, and because it's got the laser sight on it, I don't have to focus for crits. It just can get them, on any shot with the 5 times damage. So I'd use the laser, and I can see much easier than the pistol, and it's more accurate. So I wanted to use the Red 9. I was so excited when I got on the boat, and then this pistol I have just ended up becoming a god tier pistol.
What does
Nothing to
precision
compare to
even
it.
mean as a stat? I do not know.
I think it's supposedly how fast your crosshairs line up, like the focus thing, or how often it does. No, wait. Was it precision or was it
Precision. It was precision 4, and this is precision 2. But if you
I
look,
believe
hold on, here, I'll show you. So
yeah, I
like,
believe it's supposed to be penetration, but it doesn't work like that.
it's still that was pretty fast, but the same speed as the broken butterfly.
Yeah, I'm starting to think it's supposed to be penetration, which would make sense because it
Why
seemed to
would the
be
red 9 have more penetration than the broken butterfly? Oh, you
well,
just
the
seem
red
that
nine's
ridiculous. Like
supposed
I
to.
just I bought the coupon.
Oh yeah, I bought the coupon for the shotgun, uh, and I'm about to get my knife maxed out, so I'll have a knife, pistol, and shotgun maxed. I want to get another one because I noticed it's there, but I don't know if I'll get enough spindles in time. But I want to upgrade
You get
more.
2, but the second one's more expensive. You can get it in the second run.
Yeah, it's 40.
Yeah.
See, the 12.8 with 1.5 is nice, but I got a 9.5 with times 2 with my shotty.
What does precision even mean?
It's got a picture of a target next to it, so I assume it's accuracy or how fast your
The thing is, the
thing goes.
shotgun doesn't move. Like it's
That's
the
true. It's one
same.
of the static ones.
Unlike
Uh,
unlike this PMP is.
but you see how it takes a second to close like that? I'm
Yeah.
wondering if the higher the precision is, the faster it fixes itself when you
Doesn't make
shoot.
any sense because this is 2.
Uh-huh.
This has 2. But this was way faster. We can compare.
How much does this
But
one have?
2. These are both 2. Watch.
Oh,
See how fast that is?
that one was pretty fast. Mine was slow as hell when I did it. I
Way
got
slower.
quoted out during a boss. Huh. I wonder if you got two of the same type of weapon and tested it, if it's like a specific to weapon class or if it's
The only other
something else.
handguns I have is the starting one and the broken butterfly. Oh no, should have all of them. Well, he's over here. I don't know. That's the thing. I don't understand the stats. They don't seem to make sense to me.
Yeah, especially because they don't elaborate. Don't get me wrong. I understand if power is higher, bigger boom, less shots needed.
Sometimes that's the
Yes,
thing now.
sometimes.
Sometimes question mark.
Yeah, clip size. Okay, I get that one. More bullet and gun. I haven't changed anything, so I don't know why it took money to fit more in here, but more money on gun. Um,
I do have all the handguns. I think.
yeah, you could just test two side by side and see if it's a class thing or.
Well, I've got all. The broken butterfly is just smaller, and the Punisher too. I have all of them.
True, but it's also a Magnum, so I don't know if the Magnum's a different class compared to the
No, these are
pistol.
all. No, these are all. I have all of them.
Oh no, I just meant the broken butterfly.
I don't know. That's weird.
Technically, you only have 4 of them. Here's
Wait.
5. If you have the secret credit card ability.
Oh, I don't know the Matilda though. That's
It is
actually even
crazy that they
faster.
give us
Look how much
8
smaller it
slots.
is.
Yeah, but it seems like there's no difference between speed and size.
A bit smaller. Weird.
Oh
Like
yeah, it's more
tight. It's a
accurate.
tighter. It's a tighter
Yeah,
loop.
but they
Well,
seem speed-wise about the same. That one seems a little bit slower.
if I feel slower. Okay.
Oh geez,
Stats.
that one's much slower. Was that the starting one that wasn't upgraded?
The last one is Blacktail. Blacktail's got a
Oh,
4.2 precision.
what does that mean? The blacktail wasn't even the smallest for aiming. Like accuracy-wise, it wasn't the
4.
tightest.
Oh,
See,
it's
that's
got
how I know that's not penetration or something because like
How could Kendo
it,
have made this gun? He's dead.
he made it in a different timeline and then gave it to him in this timeline.
19. But there's only 11 bullets in the clip, but it says 19 on the side. Continuity error. Continuity error. I
Well,
played the
see,
game
you
good.
can upgrade the capacity and then you just put extra bullets in the clip somehow.
4.5.
It'll fit. See, that's one of the reasons I thought it was penetration, because every gun I had lined up for the most part with higher penetration having better precision, lower penetration having less precision.
But it's precision, and I don't understand. The stat makes no sense to me.
Well, that's what I mean. I can't
How
figure
is
out what
this
it
one
does.
more? Is this one just have less spread? If I if
Hold
I
on,
move
guy.
it
Let
all,
me test that on you. Oh wait, that's a good point. What happens if you move and it makes the crosshair bigger? Is higher precision less big for it to get? 'Cause I know some
this
weapons get bigger.
this one just stays. The red nine just stays until you move a lot. If you move a little bit, it's okay. But you
Damn,
can.
that is interesting. Meanwhile, some pistols I would hold like the second I even thought about moving, it was like, oh,
There's the Punisher.
the Punisher is just like, I'll just stay accurate. That's
The
fine.
Punisher is you also put the laser sight on it. Blacktail is also very accurate.
Yeah.
So the starting one really needs the laser sight to be good.
Yeah, which is weird because this had better quote unquote uh perception than some of the others, even though it's less accurate.
Yeah, this is the thing. I don't understand the stats. I
I'm
really
gonna
don't.
Google it because I want to see if someone has cracked the code on what the
This
hell is going on.
that's the thing. This is like it's just the starting pistol's bad. I don't get why starting pistol's so bad. But
Every
yet,
weapon location and upgrade stats. No. Strongest guns. No. Just tell me how stats work.
what does precision mean, dude? I don't even know.
That's what I want to know. I could kind of guess what everything else means.
Yeah,
Someone says they made a spreadsheet.
they made a spreadsheet. Does it
Wow.
even?
I just scrolled by IGN with their recent one. They didn't even mention it. You can upgrade the firepower, the fire speed, the reload, and the ammo capacity. Also, each gun gets an exclusive upgrade. Bro, you didn't even mention the thing that I'm confused about. You just not figure it out and not bother?
I
Team.
don't know, man.
Oh yeah, the Punisher's max ability is penetrate 5 targets. Red 9 is 1.5 damage. Blacktail is 1.5 damage. Matoda is double capacity.
Yeah, but
They
it
didn't
also
even...
but it gets through round burst with the other one. Double
Yeah, with the
capacity, man.
stock.
Is
Yeah,
it
double
worth
capacity is a big
even
one.
getting? I don't know.
Just because of the triple shot, if you happen to have like unlimited ammo, for instance, well, I guess you wouldn't have to reload then because they do bottomless clip. Uh, but yeah, if you were not worried about burning for ammo, it would be nice to not have to reload. Although they didn't even put what the DLC weapon has, they just left it blank,
I
even though
kind of
it's
wish the
times
Red
5
9
crit.
worked like it actually did in real life. Because in real life, you could just pop the top open and put a round in.
Yeah, I loved how they reloaded in the original though, when he put the line in and then flicked off the little remainder of what the clip holder had. It was great. It was like, tink.
It doesn't flick it, but it still takes it off.
I thought he flicked it off with the gun, like he shook it.
Well, it's a strip clip, basically.
Yeah. Uh, yeah. Here, there's only 3 rifles. You got the SR with the double power, the Stingray with double fire rate, and the CQBR assault rifle with extra power
With
for 100K.
garbage. It's like, as soon as I realized that used the rifle, I'm like, I'm not even buying this thing.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. I found it in chapter 10, uh, with the cubic device. I think it was called the square. So I got it for free. So I was like, oh, I'll try it. And then I was like, I'm wasting far too much ammo. This is awful.
Yeah.
Uh, see, this is interesting. The TMP is shit. It's increased power for 1.5. The LE5, you penetrate through 5 targets with its special upgrade. So at least if you had an SMG that could spray for everything, that wouldn't be as bad. And then the Chicago Sweeper, they decided to call it this time, has never ending ammunition, but you have to complete professional mode with an A to get it.
With an A?
Yeah. Oh, they have the hand cannon in this one too, but you have to beat professional mode without any bonus weapons. Uh, the Killer
So no.
7. Oh, go on. Sorry.
So that means no stuff like
Yeah, no unlimited ammo.
rocket
No.
launcher.
Yeah, no. Unlimited durability knife, etc.
Hmm.
So the hand cannon with the unlimited ammo, that's nice. Broken Butterfly gets a 1.5 times damage increase for its special, but the Killer 7 also gets the increased critical rate by 5 times. So just like the pistol I have, normal enemies are fucked for the Killer 7 no matter what, and bosses are going to take crazy damage. The starting knife does 1.5 times attack speed.
Yeah, I
The
have that
fighting
fully
knife,
upgraded.
yeah, same. But the
Fighting?
fighting knife, the one you get from Krauser, it has double power times two. So whatever its upgrades are, it also gets double power as its exclusive. And the primal knife gives you indestructible, and that's the one for getting all 16 uh, Ramones, quote unquote.
Oh yeah, I gotta find the rest of those.
Yeah. So the special weapons, the Mine Thrower, the Infinite Rocket Launcher, the Chicago
Oh,
Typewriter, and the PRL 412.
oh, the mine thrower actually exists.
I'm not sure. It's in this guide, but when I clicked the PRL, it says it was updated in 2011, and it brought me to that Res 4. But then the video it has of combat tips is from the new one, so I can't confirm, but it would be great if they bring that back. Let me see what the Mine Thrower is.
I thought that
You know, it
the
brings me to a
the
picture of the old
dart
one.
launcher was the new replacement for it.
That's what I thought. Yeah, the video says why you should get the bolt thrower early on, but the picture shows the old Mine Thrower. Thanks, IGN. You shit. Yeah, even looking at the capacity, reload speed, and stuff, it's the old game. Ugh.
No,
I love how for other weapons, you got your hand grenade, your flash grenade, your incendiary grenade, which I'm sad they got rid of, your heavy grenade, and your rocket launcher. I miss lighting people on fire.
incendiary grenades protect, which sweet. But
Yeah.
honestly speaking, I'm also annoyed that I can't store ammo. So basically, I've got all this. I've got the stupid. So I've got the mines and the bolts just chilling in my inventory. Can't do anything with them. I can throw them out, I guess, but or sell them. But
I don't want to sell them though for the like never being able to get them back thing. So I just keep them in storage. At
I
some
can't.
point in his
But I
playthrough,
can't
I'll have
keep the
them all
ammo in
maxed.
storage.
The ammo you can't. I just mean the guns themselves. I hate that you can't put ammo away though.
Yeah, this is dumb.
So for the shotgun, apparently, you know how everyone online is saying the riot gun does more damage and is better. Um, the guide that made that got popular apparently did the math wrong, and it's actually weaker than the starting shotgun because it only has 1.5 times damage instead of 2 like this one gets. But the starting one has more drop off. The riot gun's farther shooting,
Yeah,
so they're both good.
they're both good. Just you had to basically put the shotgun up the other guy's nose.
It's funny looking at the stats here. The guy wrote it as penetration, and then the next one has it as uh, precision. So like, what the fuck is going on?
No one understands. We have uncovered a mystery that will never be answered.
And then there's some guys like this that just don't even bring it up. They're like, here's the stats, and it shows everything but that. Best guns to upgrade, blah blah blah. Default stats, low free stats, laser sight. Are you gonna discuss? They're not gonna discuss.
No, we're not going to discuss. I still haven't bought the biggest case upgrade.
Which is the biggest one? Is it the 13 by 7 or whatever?
36, whatever.
The 9 by 13 costs 64K.
I think 9 by 13 is the one, yeah.
Okay, so that's the only one I have left. I just don't have enough money, but I encountered it for the first time here.
Uh, no, I got the thing that the I made the item that got me 100K.
I made both of them, and I'm still doing stuff. I think there's only a second one if you have the DLC, the deluxe thing, because you get expanded treasures, and apparently it puts more treasure in the game. Um, so you get two of those, and I did the thing to get them maxed on both, using one of each colored gem, so it's 100K. Things are expensive in this game. I've
Yeah.
sold everything at the max potential that they could sell for, and I've collected every treasure to this point. I unknowingly used the briefcase that makes more money drop the entire game so far, before I realized that the cases also had abilities. So I've come across all the money, and I'm still sitting here like, I only got 20K. I need 64K for this. Just,
Yeah, money is tight.
just
I feel like.
terminally poor. And I get it. I'm in
Did you
definitely a
buy the
third
vest?
world country. Oh yeah, I use the vest constantly on this difficulty. It has saved my life so many times. It's worth putting money into repairing. I wish you could
Yeah,
upgrade it though.
yeah, not being able to upgrade is weird. But yeah, I think that does it for Resident Evil 4 Talk and stuff.
That's true. Definitely babbled on a bit about it.
Yeah,
My bad.
honestly, what I like about it is that they have very Resident Evilalized a very action game and made it more in line with the rest of the series. Now,
Yeah.
you haven't seen the ending yet,
No, I have not, and I'm sure it'll be different like everything else has to a degree.
but you heard Ada talking with Dude on the walkie-talkie, though.
Which dude? When she was talking to Krauser, or when she was talking to Lewis, or when she was talking to Leon? She gets around.
Talk to Krauser.
Yeah, at one point.
No, she's talking to a dude on the thing. I recognized the voice right away. A Japanese, anyway.
Oh,
Coffee Dad, man.
Wesker?
Yep, it's Wesker. Coffee
I
Dad.
guess that makes sense, but it didn't sound like his voice. Although actually, I haven't. He hasn't been voiced in the remakes yet, so they probably just gave him a new voice guy.
Yeah, in English they did. In Japanese, they used the same one.
Well, that'd be nice. Well, that's why I didn't recognize him. I was sitting here like, but oh, it's a new guy. I have no idea. There's no way I could have known.
Uh,
I assumed it was supposed to be someone shady in the dark because they're. I have the subtitles on with, it tells me who speaks, and it had question marks for him. I just assumed it was Krauser at the time because he hadn't been introduced yet, and I know he pops up, and
no,
I thought that in the original he mentions working with Ada, or at least knowing she's around.
the
I
bitch in the
don't
red
remember.
dress.
Yeah, that's what it was. He knew about her, so I assumed that's what it was. I need to play through that game again. I'm starting. It's been so long since my last playthrough. I'm starting to mix up what happened in this game with what happened in that game with what happened with the in between game and the rail shooter one. Ugh.
Yeah, no, but Krauser was basically. That's people like, oh, they should do Operation Javier. No, it's fine.
What
You
they
already did
should
it.
do is Resident Evil Outbreak. I've
Yes.
waited 20 years, at least. My dream comes true first. And you know what? I could say they should do Code Veronica too, but they never will, so I'm not even going to waste my time.
Yeah, don't bother. Code Veronica's trash.
I feel like it has potential to be
The,
better if they
the
change some things,
the
which they
only
could
game
do.
the only game that mentions it is Zero, and Zero's also been blacklisted.
I was gonna say, and because it did that, they also refused to touch it. I would love a Zero Veronica 5 remake in the same way of this. Um, I don't think they all need them. Like 5 technically doesn't, but I'd still like it. The same with 6. If they just did all through six, and of course six being last, so by the time we get there, it would definitely be long enough. I wouldn't mind. I don't think seven or eight need them, but if they wanted to refix some of the continuity and also keep
I think they
delivering
ma-
these
I think they
quality,
I think they follow this new timeline they made. I'm not gonna
yeah.
spoil it, but the ending definitely deviates and hints to something else coming.
And of course, thank you for no spoilers. My only question is, does it deviate towards like a game they've already made coming or a new game entirely? Like, does it change enough from the canon that it looks like some brand new thing?
I don't know if it's brand new, but it's something different. We won't
Okay.
know for sure until we get separate ways.
Yeah, hopefully we do, because they still haven't mentioned anything about it. I could see the in-game cutscene in my head every time Ada would leave and grapple away. I'm like, yeah, if I was playing separate ways, this is where the camera would have changed to her view, and I'd start playing that. Oh well, she's having fun on her own adventure. I guess I'll be Leon. I'm still waiting for them to do five as a remake, mostly because that's the first co-op one, and I would love to get a co-op version of these remakes. Oh, five and six in this style with the co-op would be great. And the reason I want six to be remade, they did a really good job with like the combat for Leon in terms of melee and the knife too. I want to play with the crazy combat that that game had, especially the melee for like Jake. Oh, that'd be
No,
fucking awesome.
no.
Look,
Resident Evil
the
6
story
can
wasn't
die.
anything to write home about.
Resident Evil
The
6 can die.
campaign, the campaign wasn't great. But the gunplay was really good in that one. The ability to switch to a Kimbo on the fly and switch the guns like that, the
I
crazy
never
amounts of
used the
flips
Kimbo.
and
I never
DDTs.
used the Akimbo because it was garbage and wasted too many bullets. I have like
Yeah,
it.
but you see,
I
in
live it.
Mercenaries mode, it was helpful. That was the
We
only
don't
mode
have
that was
that
helpful.
either.
Not in this one yet, but we're supposed to be getting it any day now, aren't
Hmm.
we? Wasn't it the first week of April, they said?
Oh, we'll see. Hopefully they fix the dead zone and the texture loading issue, which I can actually demonstrate.
Oh, that's a good point, since I haven't seen it yet. Oh, scooch you over.
Uh, Professor was really obvious, but like if you bring up the menu,
Hmm.
the texture still hasn't loaded all the way. There it
Where?
goes. The whole wall. Hold on. I gotta move out of the area and come back for it to work. Okay. So we're gonna go right to the wall. We're gonna right at the wall here.
Hmm. Oh,
Yeah, it does this all the time with
I've
stuff.
never seen that. I gotta
It,
test that. I'm curious.
yeah, that's literally what it does. This does it on a lot of surfaces. If it's wet, it looks extra bad.
Oh, good. I'm actually near a cave that's wet. I'll try it.
Yeah,
Oh
because
God,
it's
I just noticed it.
yep.
At first I was like, no, it looks the same, and then everything started popping in. I'm like, oh no, that's really bad. I've never seen that until now. I just tried it in the wet cave,
Yeah,
and
that's the thing. That's the thing me and Suzu were talking about. It's just that it's a technical issue, and it shouldn't be happening on the Series X at all. There's
yeah.
no reason for it.
And I wonder if the reason I didn't notice is because it's so specific. Like I haven't seen it my entire playthrough because I haven't run up near a wall, opened the inventory, and then checked it out. I wonder if it just hasn't come up with what they were doing until it already released, and then people found it and they're like, guys.
The thing is, it did it in the castle. I don't have a save in the castle. I think I can load, but there's like that statue right outside the save room.
Hmm.
I had it just, I opened the door and it was low res. I walked up to it and I'm like, that's low res still. And then it popped in.
That's funny. I'd only tried it in the cave just now. I hadn't seen it anywhere else, but I'm sure it's in all three islands. What the hell? How do I interact with that?
You touch it.
I have no
Anyway,
way to reach that, but there's an arrow there.
anyway,
Yeah.
it's time to end the show. Go eat dinner. Do stuff.
Yeah, I should probably do that too.
Dinner's good. Thanks everyone for hanging out. Enjoy this wall. This wall.
It's a
Gorgeous
good
wall.
wall. It's a good
It's a
wall.
good wall. Alright,
It
everyone.
did its best.
It did. You have a
Have
good
a good
night.
week, boys.
We'll see you next week for more weirdness. We'll actually
Oh
have caffeine
boy.
next week, so we'll be all jittery.
Planning a week in advance. I'm gonna be hyped as hell next week.